Test, test. Test, test. Test, test, test. Okay, yeah. See, when you have two microphones, it gets confusing. Tristan already left. He's already had enough of it. Yeah, so I had to unplug the other microphone. You guys can hear me now, right? Okay, good. So we traveled and we had the other microphone off. And anyway, what I was saying was the Timcast debate did not end up being at all what I expected. It was still a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I thought that we would go in there and, I told Josie I'd be bringing some heat, and she said that's fine. So my assumption was I would be debating probably one of the other members of Timtown. That's not what happened. Tim took issue with company towns. And it's funny because it was really just a passing illusion. I wasn't even really intending to have some big rabbit hole discussion. Just likening a company town to the setup of a completely, state-run system, right? Something like Stalin's Russia or something like that, where the state owns everything. I was like, how is that really different from a company town? It's not. And so I tried to eliminate or elucidate the difference between that and monopoly capitalism, and I really didn't see any difference. So to me, they're pretty much the same. That was the point. That then got into a massive discussion, which I don't think he knew what company towns actually were, how they functioned, and even monopoly capitalism is not what Tim thinks. I mean, that's not classical capitalism. Now, again, I know that you can argue that capitalism just tends towards that. Why wouldn't it? But that really wasn't the point. My point was just to say that, number one, company towns are, anti-competition. So if capitalism is about competition, then it's not capitalistic. And if monopoly capitalism is good, then there's really no distinction between that and state-run capitalism. It's just, do you want to live under Lord Rothschild's government that he owns everything? Or do you want to live under Stalin's government where he and the state run everything? It's really no different. But that point was all missed, which, as you guys know, launched into a long discussion about the grounding for rights, the justification for so-called rights, and I think everybody can see how the rest of that conversation went. Now, people said, you didn't do very well explaining the Christian position. That's true, because every time I would begin to explain, Tim would immediately interject, and so I never got to give as quick of a rundown of the Christian paradigm and worldview as I was hoping to do, but that's okay. And then we moved on after about 30 minutes. But as you can see, I think most people, 92%, and on most of the polls, 80%, 92%, think that didn't go that well for Tim. But hey, Tim was nice about it afterwards. We had a good conversation. He was cool about it. So I appreciate that he didn't, he took it in stride. He was a good media dude about it. And I appreciate that. Now, I got Mog-maxed by Trump, and then we've gotten Mog-maxed by war. And I'm just kidding. I don't mean to make light of war, but hey, we got to have some gallows humor. We got to have a little bit of joking around. And I'm joined today by my good bro, Tristana, if he feels like condescending to speak to the rest of us out here on the internet, the plebs of the internet. Is Tristana available? Are you condescending?
What's up, Jay? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. How you doing?
Yeah. Can you go ahead and unmute? You're gonna have to unmute, dude.
Oh, here we go. Off to a bad start already.
Jay Dyer. Look, Jay.
Just say my name. Say my name. Say my name. Just repeat my name over. It's a good strategy for debates, apparently.
I mean, it's my favorite one when they start doing that. Actually, what I like most about it is when you get kind of annoyed at it, and you're always like, "Stop saying my name, dude." I can't count how many times I've heard you say, "Why do you keep saying my name?"
It's just a weird thing to me. I don't understand what people get out of that. I
think it's a stalling tactic.
Yeah,
it's a stall tactic.
Probably.
And buy them some time. It's like saying They don't really have anything to say. Jay.
Yeah.
Jay. They're trying to recoup and build up some HP so that they can hit you with something better. I think that's part of it.
Rebuild their hit points. I like that. Okay, now
I think also some of these people have also listened to you so much that they're like almost self-talking, like I'm talking to Jay now. So they're almost they're kind of letting out their internal dialogue, like Jay Dyer, Jay Dyer, Jay Dyer.
Now, guys, I've got Tristan's channel linked. You can follow him. He does, I think, plan to be doing some more content in the near future. So there's Tristan's channel right there. Beautiful Tristana. He has detransitioned, and we're glad to have him back with us. He was transitioning, as you guys know, and he's chosen not to go that path and to become, once again, normal Tristan. So we're glad. Tristan, you ready to get into a little bit of Candace? What we're going to cover today before we get into war and Middle East type stuff. And we will have open forum. You guys can call in on any topic that you want, preferably topics related to the subject matter at hand. Candace, the war, Trump, Epstein files, all the news of late. But if you do have theology questions, those are welcomed. I'm pretty open to whatever you guys want to talk about today. Atheists who want to talk about tag, that's fine. We're going to start with a little bit of sweet candy over here because before Candace got warmogged, and so war took over Candace's takeover of Twitter. She was everywhere the other day. When I was on Timcast, Tim was venting that all of Twitter was nothing but Candace. And so we're going to play a little bit of this clip here. And this is her new Erica Kirk series, which, as we all are told, they had these meetings, these brunch meetings of two, narcissistic ladies about media and what to not do. And supposedly there was going to be some ceasefire. And of course, Candace has gone absolutely to Bonkerstown with a docu-series about Bride of Frankenstein. So let's play this little clip here. And Tristan and I are going to give you guys, hopefully, a little bit of wisdom, if we have garnered any wisdom, being in the sphere of looking at alternative media and conspiracy stuff for 20, 25 years-ish between us. Both of us being that long, not 10 and 10, but both of us, back to the early 2000s of alternative media.
We do it in days or hours, actually. Like, we calculate the hours that we've lived since we started getting into this type of stuff to kind of inflate it a little bit in the audience's mind, because that'll give us more credibility.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be probably in the hundreds of thousands of hours.
Okay. 1 billion hours combined study and research of alternative media over the last 100 years between Tristan and myself. And we think we have some wisdom and insight into the grifting. We don't talk a lot about grifting over here. That is an overused term. However, there are spooks, kooks, and crooks. That is the domain, unfortunately, of alternative media and the domain of mainstream media. It is full of spooks, kooks, and crooks. Crooks, making it rhyme. So let's hear this first Candace clip, and then Tristan and I are going to deconstruct some of Queen Candace's QAnons.
Then Nicole Rothstein, I want you to understand who this would be to her. Nicole Rothstein, it's going to sound ridiculous, but this is the reality, if Erica's telling the truth. Nicole Rothstein would be Erica's father's sister's husband's previous wife's daughter's daughter. In other words, zero blood relation, not even kind of related, kind of crazy. You would even call each other cousins. People do that. It's cool. It's my cousin. It's my cousin. Okay, cool. If Erica is telling the truth about her paternity, then Nicole Rothstein, I want you to understand who this.
So now these are the bombshells that are going to change everything. Some girl who Erica calls a cousin is actually Erica's father's sister. No, I am not joking. So apparently there are lies about Erica's background, according to Candace. And then what popped up was even wilder. Erica did not move to Arizona after divorce. She attended some elite schools called Tesseract. Of course, that's from, it's a mathematical, 5-dimensional object, but it's also an object that, it's from the Wrinkle in Time. As this notes, and of course, Candace makes a big deal out of things like the GATE program and the Wrinkle in Time and all this nonsense. I was in the GATE program, so I can speak to it. It was not X-Men children. It wasn't anything like that. It was just gifted kids. And we actually did read the Wrinkle in Time trilogy. So that part is correct. However, now it seems like she's moving past the twin flames idea, and perhaps, and I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, perhaps because in the 1980s, girls would get bowl cuts, which they did. I remember in second or third grade, kindergarten, even girls would get bowl cuts. But apparently that means perhaps she's a man. Let's see.
Right now, where a young woman with absolutely zero professional qualifications has been inserted at the top of a charity organization that pulled in over $250 million last year. And the media is telling you that you have no right to know or to ask anything about her. The argument being made is that her husband was murdered. Therefore, she has a right to assume the position. And despite the fact that Turning Point USA is a literal charity, and therefore does not even have to pay tax on that $250 million plus or pay tax on the alleged future billions that it's due to rake in thanks to a deal with a man named Pierre, these talking heads are claiming that the public simply wanting to ensure the person who is running that organization is, I don't know, at a bare minimum, moderately honest about who she says she is. No, that inquiry makes you a monster. So I guess your job is to head to work 9 to 5, receive a flurry of unsolicited emails and text messages reminding you that Charlie Kirk, the innocent man that you watched be executed in broad daylight live, you're to be reminded that that was her Charlie. My Charlie needs your help.
Now, remember, if we're getting into the position of now Erica might be a dude, wouldn't this tarnish the legacy of Charlie? Because now Charlie was into TRANZ. I mean, this is just getting so preposterous. And whoever this guy is, this obvious clickbait tard profile here, Project Constitution. We will ride you. We will ride the narrative till the grave with you, Candace. We're willing to die for you. We're ride or die with Candace. So I'm confused because I don't know how they're coming to this conclusion on the basis of a bowl cut. I mean, this is just, I'm sure there's other arguments that they're going to try to bring forward. But now, first thing to say, I have been critiquing evangelical fake CIA movements and churches since 10 years ago, at least. I've got many podcasts and videos doing that. I have no problem saying that TPUSA is some kind of front type of organization, which I think is totally shady. That's my opinion. That's my analysis. And I know I don't trust or care anything about what Erica Kirk is promoting or any of that nonsense. That does not make Candace correct. Okay, so let's avoid the basic bitch dialectic here. Tristan, first thoughts on this. What's your analysis of the new X-Files episode that perhaps Erica is also a man?
Yeah, I'm almost interested in. I understand why a lot of people get caught up in it because it's kind of like a low level, it's kind of a low level detective story type thing. And you have, Candace is the star in this noir film, and she's discovering all the incongruities concerning Charlie and stuff like that. But I mean, it's one of the things that she does a lot, and you see this with people all the time. And I think she's pretty smart about it, actually, because you hear me?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I thought my mic was acting up. What she does is she'll make accusations without actually accusing anybody. So it's this, you kind of go, well, there's all these fake, all these kind of like fake male to female to male people out there, right? I mean, clearly you got Michelle Obama, you got Big Mike, you got
Brigitte Macron, that was her whole thing last year.
Yeah, Brigitte Macron, and you have all these people, and they're clearly not what they seem to be, right? People love that. People love that as a storyline. That's a storyline of most every detective novel, every pulp detective novel is things are not as they seem, right? Almost every novel, things are not quite as they seem. And but she'll go along and she'll kind of weave this narrative, and what she is accusing people. She is accusing.
Yeah, she's saying they're implicated. She's already said they're implicated in. She said they're implicated in the death.
Yeah, she straight up says they're implicating that they're complicit in this cover up. But then when she's really pressed on it, someone will say, "Well, look, what evidence do you have that Erica Kirk is complicit in the death of her husband?" She'll say, "I never said that. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
I would never say something like that. You need to."
which is a lie. She's lying.
She's very deceptive in that way.
Yeah, and the next thing we want to look at here is Tristan noticed that, and I know I'm not a Hassan fan, but Hassan Piker, as you guys know, is a leftist streamer who decided that he would try to test Candace's so-called audience by sending his audience to hers, right? So let's watch this.
In here watching, look at this. Look at my chat. Look at my chat versus Candace Owens's. Nah, slow mode or not, doesn't matter.
Is that this was done
Dude, come on,
after
my
the fact?
fucking chatters
Maybe
are
someone had a
typing
friend
fuck
down
in
at the
her
county
chat.
clerk who was responsible for scanning those docs into the system to document.
Look,
I should also
her
add
entire
that
chat
I
is
could not find
my
a single
fucking
trace of their
chatters.
alleged marriage in Marble
Her
Hill in
entire chat is my
Massachusetts.
chatters.
That doesn't exist,
Do
but
you
I can
think
find
a
some authority.
36,000 person
Marblehead, I would like to
live
say, is certainly an
viewership
interesting
channel
town to pick because it's the
would be
recognized
capable of
birthplace the
rating
Marine Corps?
another content creator's
Hearing the
live
names
chat
of
when they have 213,000 viewers?
Now,
It's
I should note,
completely
I'm
fake.
responsible here that there are divorce-related documents.
It's
that are
just
available
my chat in there.
Ohio
Look at this.
online
Everyone's
that
typing
people are not
fa.
allowed to have access to. People have privacy. That makes sense.
So again, absolutely no like at all for Hassan Piker. But does this suggest that Candace's audience is inflated and botted? Tech bros, tech dorks out there, can you comment on this? I'm aware that Candace has supposedly 7 million followers on YouTube. Well aware of that. But the problem is that if the audience of 200,000 live is legitimate, why would Hassan be able to dominate and take over the chat like that? That was at least the argument. Tristan, do you have any comments on this?
It's a bit strange. Yeah, I think it's funny just commenting on that. The need to say, I don't. Just because I played a clip of Hassan and, you know, Hassan says that the sky is blue, and I agree that the sky is blue doesn't mean I endorse everything about Hassan or don't think he's a massive gay F word. But like it's ridiculous that we even have to say that. I feel like your audience is pretty.
Well, we got a lot of people in the chat that don't know that. They think I'm like some leftist or something. It's because I play a clip. It's stupid.
It's the Candace people. You have to say this for the Candace people because they say, "Oh, he played a Hassan clip, so he's a commie."
Right.
It must be a commie. So yeah, but yeah, I think you got a lot of GATE students in your audience. So I think your audience gets it.
The
But
gay
it's
program.
It's likely that some of these channels are botted. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something that I noticed in the last couple of weeks, you and I talked about this when I was in the space briefly with you the other day, is that Milo seems to be involved in the Candace PR campaign to a certain extent. I don't know if she pays him for consultation.
Oh, interesting.
Or if it's just, basic Milo blackmail stuff that he does. But he's been pretty prominent in defending her.
Yeah.
And something that I saw happen earlier this week and as a few days ago, there was this controversy over whether people were receiving emails to call Candace Owens a demon.
Yes,
on Twitter,
let's talk
right?
about
So
that.
these posts.
Let's talk about that.
And it was slightly suspicious. There were a lot of posts that were pretty similar. That seemed like they were
Right.
There was an organized mass posting against Candace, and that stuff happens all the time. And but then what was funny is, on the other hand, there was kind of the same thing was happening from Candace's end as well, and there were people posting almost the exact TypeScript defending Candace and calling out the supposed. So you've got bot armies versus bot armies.
Yes.
And I think that is kind of a interesting.
Yeah, and then I saw a lot of people saying that the guy who created the original supposed TPUSA thing said, no, it was fake. I made it with AI, which vindicates, if that's the case, that vindicates all of us who were just simply asking, how do we know that this memo is real? It could be anything. And they did absolutely no investigation and just ran with it. All of that side, all this Candace bot army ran with the TPUSA memo as legitimate, but nobody knew if it was. And so merely asking the question, how do we know this is legitimate, means that you get attacked on Twitter, as I did, with hundreds of Candace bots. And if you argue against Candace, you will experience this. You will get all of these ridiculous, and they have hardly any followers, hardly any posts, but they're there to tell you that you're a retard. Now, this is other critics pointing out Erica is a man, allegedly, according to Candace. They're going with this now that that Erica was a man. This is a new low. They're actually just evil incarnate, right? I mean, this is so retarded that any of these should have totally discredited Candace. And that's why I can't find anybody willing to debate me on her credibility, because I started following her in this stuff intensely for the last 6 months. You know, I watched when she did her BB expose, which is a pretty good expose. And I thought, okay, maybe I should give Candace a fair hearing. And then it went from there to craziness, right? I came in after the Egyptian planes thing. So I wasn't really paying attention to Egyptian planes. I think that, by the way, is bullshit, but it doesn't prove anything. And then it's every week, it's a new theory, even to the point of going back to the Project Camelot disinformation stuff of the kookiest boomer nonsensical interviews with UFO alien abductees, super soldiers, Pleiadians, all this nonsense that Project Camelot put out, which was her argument and her basis for how Charlie was a time traveler with the CIA using this 2012 Sumerian technology that suddenly quit working. So at that point, I was like, this is obviously just absolute disinformation. And she's either not that intelligent or she's being fed disinfo and she's falling for it. Either way, it doesn't matter, because both of those things can easily be true. Tristan, what is your thought on, give us some of your takes on Sweet Candy and where she's gone and what she's putting out now?
Yeah, well, I mean, I like how you used, I think in the YouTube title you put conspiracy candy, right? Did you use that term?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. I think I was the first person to use that term. I'm going to claim it. I'm going to patent
we used it on Boiler Room.
Term,
it's a Boiler Room term.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect terminology for it, because it's really it's low nutrition, easily digestible fluff. It's cotton candy. You know, it's airy, it's sweet, it tastes real good. It makes you gives people a little bit of, you know, that addictive, suspicious feeling, right? But there's no delivery, right? Like, so say you buy into all Candace's stuff, right? It's all true, Candace. It's all true. Erica Kirk is everything you said she is, right? And of course, I shouldn't have to say, that doesn't mean we think Erica Kirk is necessarily this great saintly figure, but it doesn't mean we are disregarding all suspicions concerning TPUSA. It does not mean we're like Mark Levin, you know, retarded level position. But say that's all true, Candace. Well, now what? Right? Then what's next? Like, what if the world just acquiesced and was like, all right, lock him up, Erica Kirk needs to be tarred and feathered and locked in a cage so that Candace can spit mean girl comments at her and millennial wine mom hot chick mog her for the rest of her life, right? She's going to live in a little bird cage inside of Candace Owens' home and watch Candace ballroom dance with a hologram of Charlie for the rest of her life. That's your punishment. I'm sorry, Erica, but this is your eternal punishment. You're going to live this way. This is the way it is, and it is not it's not any other way. If that happens, then what? Like, what the heck is the logical conclusion of all this? I mean, to me, it's just so pointless. I don't understand what people...
Well, people love getting caught up in the soap opera drama, and she's weaved herself into the story as the twin flame outside of time and space lover of Charlie Kirk, who communicates with her from the purgatorial sphere to the dream sphere. Literally.
Right. It's crazy. So that if anything is interesting about this, it's kind of the psychology of a scorned woman kind of thing. Sadly, it's a fascinating, almost kind of Dostoevsky, Faulknerian madness that we're seeing Candace go through, where she's, basically kind of having this strange conversation with herself and her former friend slash whatever she sees him as. And so yeah, to me, the most interesting thing of it is just that weird psychology of whatever it is that she's going through here.
I want to ask you another question about the tendency of the grifters in the conspiracy sphere, because I think this is also very relevant with spooks, kooks, and crooks as the theme. Here is the guy claiming that he actually wrote this supposed memo. Cognitive.eth claims that the memo was made with AI. It is not a real internal TPUSA memo to go after Candace, calling her, quote, demon. Although there could easily be some coordinated campaign to go after Candace. I don't think that's totally possible. The problem is that anyone questioning it was immediately called a stooge or a getting BB bucks, right? And here is the people saying, no, this is actually Candace's minions putting out fake evidence like this to bolster her claims. Tristan, having looked at the conspiracy world for many years, going back to the time of, early 2000s, post Big 9 event, you saw, Project Camelot back in the day, interviewing all these obvious loons and grifters to resurrect a lot of 2000s era conspiracies, to go into a time machine and make these new and afresh conspiracies for the wine moms out there in Candace's audience. What's the problem with this? Why do you see a problem going back to 2012 conspiracies?
To me, it seems like this is just an endless. There's no end to the grasping. It's what happens with this type of stuff where it's not so grounded in reality. It almost becomes, it's like a role-playing game, right? It's like this long-term role-playing game, and everyone's playing 5D Clue or whatever, and with the way everybody's devices are now carried with them everywhere, right? Everyone's like, I'm talking to you on a smartphone right now, and everybody has access to this all day long. And a lot of stuff's kind of addictive, right? It's addictive in the way that cheap romance novels used to be addicted to women, and dime store detective novels back in the 50s and stuff like that. It touches something in the psyche, and also what it touches in the psyche is something that's even though these things are relatively shallow, she's actually probing into. She's getting into the realm of the mystical. She's getting into the realm of like the deep depths of the human psyche.
She's talking about opening your third eye. She's talking about all this, Christ consciousness, new agey type shit.
Yeah. I mean, she just gets the realm of religion, right? And when you're dealing with paradigm shifts, when you're dealing with that feeling of your mind being blown, it's the same thing that kind of the drug culture really hits on. And it's somewhat similar to certain drug experiences, the trip that people go on when they're following these kind of rabbit trails down, especially when they have a charismatic figure. It's especially dangerous that she's a sassy black woman too. I mean, goodness, not joke. But this is the realm of the mystical. It's the realm of religion, and people really do. They want that mystery, right? There's something that's we all have this innate draw to the mysteries of life and to the questions that are the most difficult to answer. And what this is doing is kind of sublimating that and subverting it into Maury Povich MTV reality show style.
She actually listens to her dreams. Her dreams tell her where to go with the show, what to talk about, what Charlie's telling her. I'm not kidding.
Yes, I mean, it's sad. It's weird. I mean, millennial. There's nothing more dangerous to the world than millennial women getting a lot of attention.
All right, let's listen.
Just millennial women. Just
now,
in general.
Right. Every time this comes up, people. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I think I kind of.
Well, I want to ask you too about the credibility question too, and then again some of the more goofy stuff, because when you and I were on that X Space the other night, I'd like to hit some of that topic as well, because we're on YouTube and we got about 2,000 live almost. And over here, a lot of those people didn't hear that X Space that we did, which I think was a really good series of topics showing and questioning her credibility. But I want to play this clip first, because people say every time we bring this up, she doesn't say that. She never said that. No, she did. Let's listen.
And as I showed you in earlier messages, that he was a time traveler and he had to find me. Is that just something people are saying to their homies in text messages? And again, not anything that I would have placed so much emphasis on back when he was saying it, but it came to fruition. The other parts, he did die young. Why did he think that him dying young was necessary in order to change things? He did die young. It is related to Turning Point USA. In some way or another, at the very least, we can all agree it's related to him speaking at a campus event for Turning Point USA. I'm totally occupied by this. I tell you, I read these messages and I'm going, what is this? What is reality, actually? And Charlie died. Yes, like I said, it was related to this organization. And I think we would all agree that his death and the manner that they did it changed the world in ways that I don't think we can fully realize.
So remember, Charlie's death changed the time continuum.
Certainly not in a way that I can articulate. You just cannot pretend that all of this.
Elaborate on that later with the thing that you mentioned with the secret school.
Yep.
At the Erica Kirk went to the secret Whitley Strieber military intelligence school, the gray aliens, and she got, she was getting the downloads from little ET, and he was helping her phone home to brainwash Charlie into marrying her, even though she might be a man. But I'm not going to say that she's probably a man. I'm just going to imply it very, very strongly. And then when people
I'm just asking questions.
I'm going to gaslight him and say, no, I never.
I just
said
ask
that.
questions.
So
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Is one big unhappy coincidence. It's entirely plausible, I think, that they knew something about Charlie. And that's why they had him marked and had him monitored and had him likely followed since he was young. And maybe they thought, like the agents think, that if they swarmed him and they stayed with him and they pretended to be his friend, that ultimately they could control Charlie and perhaps change.
Charlie is the Kwisatz Haderach in her mind, right? So basically the agents are the missionaria protectiva that have to control Charlie Muad'Dib, because if he gets loose, then the time continuum is screwed and the system will collapse.
An outcome, they could literally change an outcome related to Charlie.
So did you hear that? If they don't stop Charlie, Charlie will change reality. They had to stop Charlie before reality shifted. It's just insane. It's almost like it's new age shit. It's weird.
So when for the first time in his life, because I do believe he was managed. I mean, I've already said I was handled. I didn't recognize that I had agents.
Okay, so wait a minute. If Candace was supposedly handled, then wouldn't that shoot her credibility and her discernment right there? I mean, maybe you're still being handled. Maybe you're still being fed stupid disinfo that you believe. So again, she's like, people aren't using a whole lot of critical thinking watching her show.
And for the first time in his life, Charlie peeks his head up and starts to push back in a meaningful way. They couldn't stop him from becoming bigger. That seemed to be inevitable. But they panicked. They seem to have panicked, right? I mean, this is just starting to happen within a year when Charlie's going like, hey, man, I don't actually think this. I don't actually believe this. And then he goes, you know what? Take the money. Take the money out of the organization. And they panicked. They freaked out.
Now, that's not the only thing. There's also the Sumerian time travel technology. There's also the third eye. There's also the fact that light posts turn off and on when Charlie is near because of his ESP supersensory powers. How do we know about that? Oh, she cited a CIA program that isn't a real CIA program. Yes, I'm aware of Project the Gateway Process and Looking Glass. However, Looking Glass, which she showed on her show, was not what she claimed it was. It's a totally different operation. She just briefly showed some image of a article from the Cold War about the Soviets in Operation Looking Glass, which had nothing to do with time travel or any of the bullshit. In fact, the only thing that you can find called Operation Looking Glass and time travel is literal Project Camelot made up bullcrap that the CIA has ancient Sumerian technology, and she showed that on her show. She thinks that ancient Sumerian technology is what the CIA had, and it quit working in 2012. How do we know that? Because of some rando dude on Project Camelot. Project Camel Toe is the most ridiculous boomer conspiracy candy nonsense. Just go look at the channel. It's retarded. But it's resurrecting these old, it's almost like Cass Sunstein's cognitive infiltration. Invade the conspiracy sphere with retarded nonsense. And it makes everybody look stupid. Why do you care what Candace says? Because she's now one of the top podcasters out there. Allegedly. Okay, so that means that the biggest thing out there is now conspiracy. And if you've been in the conspiracy sphere since 2000 or 1998 or wherever, 2002, whatever, then this makes you look retarded. Oh, you're part of the Candace crowd. You think that there's the Illuminati. You think that there's the agents everywhere. And it's 2012. No, it's just, I mean, two normal normies that are waking up. This is a funnel to funnel you into being retarded. And how do I know that? Because I've been in this sphere since 2000 and I believe retarded things. I've been through this roller coaster disinformation thing at times to believe stupid shit. And then as you get smarter and older and wiser, you realize that was really dumb. There's no aliens. There's no alien. I mean, there might be demons, but there's no, a Garthan Wigartha moon base where the, aliens are taking the children to clone them. That's all disinfo. Tristan, you mentioned some things about her credibility. What are some of the things that you've noticed that make her questionable for you, credibility-wise?
Well, one of the things I think people should look out for when you're kind of navigating a realm like this, when you see a lot of vague generalities of suspicion being prodded at without an actual thesis, right? So there's her thesis is just vague and then often targeted and vicious suspicion. So when you see a high level of like kind of pathos behind it and emotion behind it, sometimes it's a good indication that that person's views may be a little bit clouded by their emotion, right? So I think she's presenting herself as some sort of an intellectual, not intellectual, but as a journalist, essentially, right? I'm Candace, and I am an investigative journalist. Is basically what she's presenting. But notice she doesn't do any actual journalism.
Exactly.
What are her sources are often anonymous emails from her audience, which, I mean, have fun speculating on what sorts of characters are getting involved in sending her emails to guide her content.
Well, we already saw that with Mitch Snow, who was a grifter, con man, got exposed for lying about his arrest record, was not imprisoned by his wife in the garage, who he said his wife broke his thumbs and locked him in the garage and imprisoning him. But he's supposedly also a Green Beret Black Ops dude. And then it turns out he's arrested at Fort Huachuca for acting insane. But because he's on the base, that's proof that he was there and overheard in a secret meeting between a bunch of colonels the planning of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And he thinks 90% that Erica Kirk was there. Oh, and by the way, his dad is a Zodiac killer. Obvious grifter. Clear
things like this where you're not doing your homework, right? I think it's pretty obvious that they're seeing. I mean, I haven't even watched an entire show of hers, but just from the clips and from the things, I've got some friends who are really into Candace as well. But oftentimes, I'm hearing the narratives, and to me, it's not adding up to a cohesive thesis. There's no actual theory that she's presenting, and that it's fine. If you're investigating something that's odd, you're not always going to have a thesis or a working working framework for understanding it. Some things are just strange, right? Especially when you're getting into the realm of espionage and psyop, and that stuff is there intentionally, right? That fog. If you are investigating something where there's a level of the espionage and whatnot involved, there's going to be the fog of war is going to obscure things. But she's consistently presenting her suspicions as if it's evidence, and then she takes the evidence, the so-called evidence, which are small anecdotes, and she'll add those up into just creating more general suspicion, and then she'll cliffhang on you're not going to believe what we discovered next time.
Yep.
And it just continues like that. So it's done in a serial manner.
It's X-Files. It's the monster of the week. It's the monster of the week, X-Files.
Absolutely. So I think people should look out for that. Like, you look out when you see this in the UFO psyop world a lot. You look at guys like, I haven't paid attention to it since maybe the Project Camelot days, but I know there's a guy like Timothy Alberino and some of these characters that are out there. Do you know that guy, Jay? Have you seen him?
I know of him. I don't know him, but yeah.
Yeah. I've seen a couple podcasts with him, and he's kind of the new Project Camelot type thing. He's the updated version. He presents himself as he's this great explorer kind of. He's Indiana Jones.
He's Nicolas Cage. He's Benjamin Gates in National Treasure.
Yeah, exactly. So look out for that. I mean, these are red flags, right? If you're just constantly, if you got somebody, the whole shtick is just to stoke suspicion and then get you to tune in next time, where she'll stoke suspicion more and then tune in next time. And then a level of it really is just, gotta be honest, a level of it is really just woman prattle petty drama. So That's another thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's so much of it's pathos and drama. And I tend to try to avoid people like that generally. Now, I'm not saying that, sometimes things don't need to get hashed out, but the public spats and the people who build their audience on stirring up controversy, those are generally going to be people who are not, they're often not giving you depth of analysis.
Yep.
They're not going to give you
right.
A straightforward, a coherent worldview. It's usually just based on personality cults and duking it out for, social media.
Well, also too, and I don't have a hard rule that no women should ever publicly speak. But why are we all suddenly just deferring to all of these women voices? For example, Anna Kasparian has been a rabid, wicked leftist forever. And suddenly the right turn, quote unquote, that she's taking, now everyone's, she's on our side now. Do you have no discernment and suspicion when the rabid leftists are suddenly using right-wing talking points? Do you have no discernment to think that maybe these people are grifters? Maybe they're not actually sincere in their motivations. And just like politicians, they shift with the changing tides. And another person that I would be suspicious of is Carrie Prejean Bowler. Wasn't she like a Miss America or whatever? And then suddenly she's now putting up AI images of her and Anna Kasparian and Candace all together, quote, united for humanity, united for Gaza, united for America. And because she calls out Zionism, she must be true. Why are we listening to all of these women on giant geopolitical issues? First of all, because women are not typically made for this. This is not typically their domain. There may be some exceptions to that. But why am I? And then all the tradcasts. She's a babe and she's calling out Zionism. She's based. Okay, well that's good, but that's not all that it takes to be correct, right? How many anti-Zionist loons have there been? Countless. Brother Nathaniel. On and on and on. There's tons of these people who are absolute quack lunatics, but because they call out Zionism, they must be true. They must be good. They must be sincere. They must be heroes. And literally everybody's just making fun of her for this post, by the way. And I even said, look, how about we debate your positions and your support for Candace? And she turned it down, of course. Nobody will debate these topics. No one will take the Candace support position in a public moderated debate. I've tried multiple people, and Josie will moderate it. She has almost 1 million followers on X. She's more than happy to moderate a pro Candace position and debate. And Why do you care? Why do you care? By the way, oh, you won't debate the Zionists? No, I was supposed to debate Shabbos Kestenbaum. We were going to debate on Jake's channel whether Epstein was Mossad, and he declined it. So no, you can't accuse me of not debating the Zionists or not debating the pro-war side of things. And now, typically, I mean, Syrian girl, she gets things wrong here and there, but she's always been cordial in discussions and whatnot. But she said having beauty is linked to being good. I'm not sure that's the case. I mean, it may, but that is sort of a fallacious idea.
No, I mean, I guess I get what she's getting at, the idea of like the Dostoevsky thing, beauty will save the world, right? The aesthetic truth and beauty being linked.
Well, first of all, this is a fake image. It's an AI image. This isn't real. So, I mean,
why do you hate beauty and truth, Jay? Why do you hate beautiful, true AI images?
well, but again, it's like, yeah, typically being disformed, abnormal, and ugly, that goes along with vice. Vice is a kind of moral deformity, sure. And aesthetics is, directly connected to proportionality, harmony, symphonia. All those things go into the aesthetics of beauty. But this idea that these are all the three good people, and because they oppose these 3 points. By the way, how are you united for?
Well, they're beautiful, so they're good. So then, I mean, every Hollywood actress then and all their
We should follow.
opinions,
We should follow.
listen to
Yeah,
all them. They're beautiful.
most of the women in the public sphere in music and entertainment and media are leftists. So this is just totally absurd. But this is exactly why, again, Syrian girl, she's an attractive female. That doesn't mean that she has good takes. Well, she's against Zionism, so she's a Muslim. Like her religion is ridiculous. So
yeah, no, I mean, I like Syria.
I do too. Yeah,
she's done a lot of good stuff.
Right.
But it's it's a funny take. I get what she's trying to get at, but I don't know. I don't think if she was pressed on it, she would continue with that line of reasoning. It seems more like a hot take kind of rage bait tweet.
Yes,
rather than
and people are saying
argument.
People are saying, what about Ian Carroll or Jake Shields? I offered to debate Jake on Candace, and he wouldn't do it.
What they're saying is, what about Ian Carroll or Jake Shields? They're both obviously beautiful, and so therefore they must be right.
Well, I know your predilections. We all know your tendencies. So, but we're not talking about lust right now. Okay, Tristan, we're talking about media and listening to.
I get it, but could you want to name, who do you all right, fine, let's move on. Who do you think are the hottest guys in all media? Like hottest.
Who's the hottest?
Nazis on
Bro.
Twitter. Go right now, top 10.
Well, if we're talking about BIPOC queens, I mean, I'm right here. Hello, I'm right here.
No, I want full on like hottest wigger Nazis on Twitter.
Oh,
Go.
shoot, crap. I guess Jake Shield is the king of that, right?
So if you're gonna have to repopulate Wigartha with just alt media tangs, who's gonna be the Wigartha?
Oh, easy.
The Emperor of Wigartha.
Well, first of all, we already know because I ran a poll and it was already decided. Who was the original Wigga and thus has the heir to the throne of Wigartha? Well, we did a poll, and out of 1,000 votes, it wasn't Vanilla Ice, it wasn't Marky Mark, and it wasn't Jamie Kennedy as B-Rad. It was your boy right here. 50%. 50% of the audience voted I am the original Wigger, and thus have the lineage and title to the chair of the throne of Wigxanthium. So, settled. There it is. Settled right there. Now, Tristan, you brought up something in our space the other night that I also want you to bring up here. In terms of credibility when it comes to Queen Candace, you mentioned the Tates. Why is that an issue?
Well, all right. So I wish that was streamed because we hit on a lot of these points, and I think I made some. I
forgot to hit record. I apologize.
I had a good thesis. I had a good what would you call it? I had a good new Twitter bio for Candace. It's what was it? It's like what millennial wine mom discovers time machine.
Yes.
The 2007 conspiracy theories.
Yes, exactly.
Ignores them with zero discernment.
Exactly. There you go.
Goes all in 2007 conspiracy theories with zero discernment. But one of the things that happened in that one is we had this guy on. He sounded like a kind of a younger kid, and he was actually pretty nice. He was willing to concede that he ended up conceding, okay, yeah, I guess Candace is not really a credible source. But we asked him, well, what would you say would be good proof that Candace is not the most reliable source? And he said, well, if she lied. So I asked straight up, I said, okay, well, if there was an instance where I could prove to you that Candace blatantly lied in order to cover up for criminal friends of hers, would that be something that maybe would make you reconsider credibility? And he said, absolutely. So I said, all right, well, I have proof, and I can show you right now the proof that Candace blatantly lied to cover up for her PETA, the people for the ethical treatment of her PETA philic friends, the Tate brothers. So Candace actually ran a media campaign on behalf of the Tates and put out and doxed the information of the victim, and this is a proven victim of human trafficking, who was assaulted by a man who was harmed when she was 15 years old by a man that wasn't Tate. It was another guy. She put out a video attacking this person and doxing her name and her address and her name and her location to her fans so they could go harass her while bleeping out the name and obscuring the name of her attacker, who was a convicted repeat offender of those crimes. And she also many times has been, I mean, this is easily demonstrated, and this is all documented. She lied many times about the Tate brothers to cover up about what was going on with their cases, what they were accused of, and what was happening with the cases over in Romania. So, and this person actually ended up conceding and saying, okay, well, I guess maybe that does kind of discredit her.
Well, let's listen to this clip here.
And when I'm looking into the Charlie Egyptian plains and I'm like, what's going on in Wilmington, Delaware? And I instantly hit the DuPont family. And then Erica's out there nervously at AmFest cracking like not funny jokes about Egyptian planes. She's like, no, nobody from Egyptian planes are here. Tell you something, her jokes are going to become less and less funny as we get deeper into this series. And when I'm looking into the Charlie...
So, in other words, making jokes about me means you're going to get a vindictive response.
Interesting little tidbit.
Also, Candace is not very well read, and we can prove that by the fact that she doesn't know a lot of basic terms.
But he did tell me another interesting little tidbit, a little anecdote.
A little neckdote. Not an anecdote, a little neckdote. This is your genius crack detective journalist, right? Who, again, doesn't know half of the multi-syllable words, and even 2- and 3-syllable words are a challenge for her, it seems. Now, let's take a look at the Project Camelot type of vibe that we have here. This is one of her major sources, and it is a ridiculous UFO disinformation outlet that has for years interviewed the most ridiculous people. In 2010, there was a man at the highly secretive City of London meeting which planned a third world war. It will be Israel and Iran. Okay, so because this interview was done 15 years ago, this is supposed to be proof that that Project Camelot is on point, right? Well, let's take a look at Project Camelot's website and channel, and let's see what all they have discussed over the years, because I feel like in today's lazy atmosphere, not many people went to check to see if Project Camelot was actually a credible source. Let's see what else is over here. Here's Carrie Cassidy and her little Jaguar song that she has here that she's fond of. E.T. Disclosure, 3-Eye Atlas, the Anunnakis, they're back. Oh, interesting. Here we go. Let's scroll through a few of these. This is essentially boomer UFO slop. Studying Angelology with Robert Stanley. Quantum windows and dimensions with insane boomers that look like Nancy Reagan. Here we go.
A lot. By 2014, I was really speaking even more.
So, and I'm not joking, because quantum dimensions, this is the stuff that Candace is talking about. Quantum dimensional time portal, Charlie Kirk twin flame shit. The new looking glass and the coming EMP blast. White hats in the government, QAnon. Aliens. The white hats are united with the QAnons. The secret hidden planets. Angels and UFOs. So, self-healing through Gaia. Here we go. This is...
Yeah, no, it all was just, it's a bunch of new age crystal stuff. And she ended up, I remember later on, she got Carrie Cassidy, the lady there. She got really into this lady called Ashayana Dean. And I knew this guy I went to college with. He got really into Ashayana Dean. It's like ascension mechanics. It's basically UFO Kabbalah. It's Kabbalah plus all sorts of alien stuff. It's like she makes all these really interesting aesthetic schizo crystal Kabbalah ascension drawings, and you have to, and she's mapping out the layers of consciousness and the different levels and realms and all the things you could do with the powers of your mind. It ends up being basically Scientology, Kabbalah, space alien sex cult. It's really fun.
And if you guys are into this, I do have a song that's better than Camel Toe Cassidy's song about her jaguar nature. I would direct you over here to Ascension Millennium, the official release from your boy Corey Feldman over here, right? Probably the best Jewish man in Hollywood.
Have you seen his Merkaba though? Does Corey show his Merkaba in the video?
If that's a reference to a weenus, then no. Unfortunately, we do not see his weenus. We
Wow,
do see.
Yeah, I knew you would take it there.
We
Jay.
do
I knew
see.
you would. Oh my goodness,
We do
dude.
see. We do
This
see.
is the problem when you're talking, you guys. Just for everybody in the audience, this is the problem when you're talking about things like this with the uninitiated, the unascended. You know, I'm trying to talk about deep spiritual matters, and you know, and Jay over here is making dirty wee
All right,
jokes
hold on.
about it.
No, you just
My
assumed
goodness.
again. You assumed that Corey Feldman's Ascension Millennium video is not deep spiritual matters. First of all, he just put on a Michael Jackson jacket and glove. He's there with one of Corey's angels, right? So
Wait, do you think Corey Feldman saw Michael Jackson's Merkaba?
Well, they're in a bedroom and he's waking up to Corey's angels and you're not. So it sounds like somebody's got a little
Why do you
bit
want
of
to bring it to
jealousy.
the bedroom and make it? This is so weird. You make it all suggestive, dude. I'm asking if you.
I didn't even say it was sexual. You read all the sexuality
here he
into
goes.
it.
He's gonna interrupt again. Watch, Jay. You're gonna have to mute yourself. I'm gonna mute you, bro. I'm gonna have to mute you. Listen. You don't have to make everything dirty talk, Jay. I'm talking about serious stuff here. Like, do you think Corey Feldman saw Michael Jackson's Merkaba? Yes or no?
Listen, I mentioned a bedroom, I mentioned a Merkaba, and you made it dirty. You just assumed it was dirty. Look, the video has Sean Astin in it.
Projecting again. He's always projecting. This is what he does. He projects, and then he mutes. Watch him mute me.
Look, here's Sean Astin. He's got Samwise in the video. You'll notice too that statue is the statue from Goonies. So there's a lot of coded references in the. It's very spiritual, right? Tristan can't see what I'm looking at. Okay, he's having a party at his house. There's a party. There's rappers showing up. How is this not spiritual? Anyway, if you guys are interested in ascending, big fans of Carrie Cassidy and now Queen Candace, well, head on over there and watch Ascension and Millennium. That's your tune right there, guys. If you want to support the stream, you can do so through Super Chat. Super Chat's done through Streamlabs or through YouTube natively. There's the link right there. Oh, excuse me. That's the Project Camelot link. Do not go there unless you're a boomer conspiratard. Then you're welcome to go over there. Now, we got a few calls. I'll take one call and then we'll go to some more analyses here of the grifting conspiracy candy world. Thoughtful. And then we'll go to John Adams, our boy over here. Thoughtful, you want to unmute?
Maybe we should ask if there are any, Candace support. You think any Candace supporters are in the audience?
I
Right
hope
now?
so.
They
They're
wanna
welcome to
jump
call in. Thoughtful, what's up? What's on your mind?
Hey, so I'm a EO brother. I'm based out of Russia, so apologies ahead of time if I get contrarian, if the audio's fucked up. But yeah, I'm a little bit in disagreement with you about I think that you're right about whether or not Candace is discredited. I would agree with you there, but I think that having like a blanket statement, just like kind of dismissing her altogether, is also equally low IQ.
How is
And
that?
I think that because, I mean, the same reason that you don't do that to Alex Jones, right? If we were to hold Alex to that same exact standards, then we could easily dismiss him.
Well, first of all, Alex has a long track record of being absolutely accurate and has pointed me to tons of real geopolitical text years and years ago that I actually went and read. Candace doesn't read and can't read, so I think that's a false equivalence.
Well, I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and try to split hairs with where it is that he's more accurate or not more accurate. What I would say is that Candace has been accurate in multiple instances, and if you were to evaluate what she's saying, right, on an individual claim by claim basis, you'd be doing a lot better than everyone else that's trying to seemingly kind of just blanket statement. Oh my gosh, it's just she's horrible.
Tell me,
this is just so low IQ.
Tell me how does disinformation work? Tell me how it works.
I mean, it specifically adds correct information and then laces it with a false narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
What's that?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. But I mean,
then you're admitting that she's not credible.
I've already admitted. I said that that was my first sentence. I'm not saying.
Why are we supposed to listen? Why are we supposed to listen to people? Why are we supposed to listen?
Because there's still value. I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day, right? Like there's still value.
Okay, well, by that argument, everybody's analysis.
Okay. By off the actors.
Okay, sure. Yes, that's a very good and astute point, Tristan. I appreciate that. But the point I'm making here is that
thoughtful. Hold on, thoughtful.
An acorn and what I'm
thoughtful. Hold on.
I can't hear you. Sorry. My bad. If the audio is bad and I'm talking over you.
By that line of argument, everyone is an analyst and everyone is credible because anybody can be right as like a broken clock twice a day.
Well, I mean, do you not think that the story about the planes, which is a flight tracker, you can go verify that independently? That's not something that you dispute, right?
I don't think it proves or doesn't show anything.
What is the results? All right, so you believe the Egyptian planes thing. What were the Egyptian planes doing, and why should we be concerned with this?
Yeah,
I have absolutely no idea.
Okay, so it proves nothing.
I will tell you that if you have any countries, hold on, let me finish. If you have any countries' military planes that are following around political figures that closely for the course of 5 to 6 years, that is absolutely something that's interesting.
Okay, what evidence does she have that there were another country's military planes following around Charlie Kirk? Where's the evidence for this?
That's actually, she's published that, and you can look up those flight logs and see there's actually flight trackers that you can do this with. This is not something that's gray area possibly.
So you're saying that you believe there were Egyptian military planes. Are these fighter jets, or are these just military planes with top military brass?
These are planes registered to the Egyptian military.
They're registered to the Egyptian military, and they're allowed to fly all around the United States and follow around public figures.
Correct. Have you not looked into this?
No, I have looked into this. They were not Egyptian military planes.
They absolutely were. This is not. If you had looked into this, I'm telling you, I have. This is not.
And you looked into this exactly how?
You just assert things and then say you haven't looked into it, so you don't know. I assert that it's been debunked. You haven't seen this? It's been debunked. Oh, well, yeah, you can look it up.
Tristan, this is what I mean when I say this is low IQ.
No, it's not. He's using the same argument you use. He's using your argument.
This is what I'm showing you your tactics. I'm mirroring your tactics.
No. What you've done, you said that it was debunked. I said provide a claim, provide a source for your claim that it was debunked.
Provide a source for where this was proven. You haven't.
I'm saying that my claim is as valid as your claim.
I'm not making this claim. She made that claim.
Oh, you're making her claim, you liar.
Jay provided the evidence. Jay has the evidence, okay? You have to trust me, bro. Jay has the evidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I mean, okay, is there evidence?
Do you not understand he's using your?
It seems like there's this blanket.
Do you understand that he's using your argument and showing that it's not a good argument?
No, hold on.
You don't understand
All I'm
that.
saying is that there is absolutely value in what Candace is doing.
You haven't shown that yet.
There is
Where is the value?
What's that?
If her value is a broken clock can be right twice a day, then literally everybody has value as an analyst. That's a retarded argument.
Sure, but what I'm saying here is a little bit further than that, right? Because it's not just a broken clock. It's a broken clock with platform, and the fact that she actually does have people like, for example, Wolves in Finance. I don't know if you've seen his channel.
Oh, that guy's a retard. You're done. Get out of here. All right, Rares, what's up? And who believes that guy was in Russia? Give me a break.
Yes, I'm actually in Russia right now. I'm in Moscow, down the hall from Alexander Dugin, together with Putin, and we are discussing Candace right now in Russia.
Rares, what's up?
Hello, Jay. I wanted to say you're my favorite BIPOC diva.
Good. You have some discernment.
Question.
Okay.
You mentioned a quote by Saint Basil, calling Rome useless or something along the lines.
That's in his letters,
while
correct?
Talking about the Meletian schism.
Yep.
And I was looking for it, and I can't find it anywhere. And
it's in his letters.
I just can't find it anywhere.
Okay, I'll find it for you right now.
Just by the way, for the audience, what I was doing there, I was using the guy's argument to show him how ridiculous it was. I wasn't making the claim that just trust me, bro. That's all the evidence I need. I was showing him that that's what he was doing. He was saying, "Well, look, Candace provided this great evidence of the Egyptian planes, and it was totally real." And I'm like, "Well, okay. Well, do you have some proof of this?" He says, "Yeah, just go look it up." So I say, "Oh no, it's been debunked." And he says, "Do you have proof of that?" I say, "Yeah, look it up." And that's okay for him to do, but of course, if I do it, he'll say it's low IQ. I'm not making the argument that, it's just debunked because I said it is. All you have to do is look it up. However, that Egyptian planes thing was absurd on so many levels. I wouldn't be able to give a cogent breakdown right now of all the reasons why it was wrong. But I remember when this happened and looking into this and seeing just how absurd the claims were, and it was pretty thoroughly debunked. I snoped it, guys. No, but it was pretty thoroughly debunked by a bunch of different people who pointed out how absurd these claims were, and the fact that just believing that Egyptian military planes are following Charlie Kirk around for 3 years. Okay, if you buy into that, and what were they doing? Well, they couldn't tap his cell phone. They're following him around for 3 years. They don't have access to the Promise software.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not the year 2026 with all of that technology. It's the year 1932, and airplanes have to fly and spy on people.
They were Charlie Kirk had Egyptian military gang stalkers who were flying around on airplanes and doing hand signals in restaurants, and they were following around and doing secret gang stalker hand signs to each other at Safeway.
Okay, so Basil's letters are 67 to 70, covers the dispute with Rome and Rome being worthless. The first one is letter 67 to Athanasius. And this discussion goes all the way to letter 70 to Pope Damasus.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yep. And I did a whole podcast on this, by the way, because it's a great refutation of anything like Vatican I in the first 4 centuries. Welcome, everybody. Over 2,000. We got 2,200. We're having a lot of fun here, dissecting, decoding, taking questions, debating. Ray. I'm just going to call you Ray. Okay, thank you, Ray. Okay. Russian script. I can't read your Cyrillic. I'm not proficient.
Hi, Jay.
Yo.
First of all, I want to say that I really appreciate you, and that is a blessing that content like yours exists in this space that is full of brain deads yapping.
Thank you.
I'm a little bit afraid of public speaking, but I will give my best to ask you one question.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, if God knew before he created us that we would end up in hell, which is a place of eternal torture, why he created us in the first place.
All right, so the Orthodox view,
just-
the Orthodox view of hell is not that God is satisfying his vindictiveness with torturing people. The Orthodox view of hell is something like you read in C.S. Lewis's The Great Divorce, where people essentially reject God and put themselves in a state where they don't want to be in his presence. So they're actually tormented by their own will and by what they wanted, not a vindictiveness out of God's, justice or something like that. Like he needs to, torture people for all millennium. God doesn't need anything. So he doesn't receive anything from creatures. This is something that's taught, multiple times in the text of scripture. This is why, for example, PSA is wrong, because you can't pay God off. He has no need. So really he's just giving everyone what they want. So being, quote, condemned to hell just means that you went to the place that you wanted to be, not that God forced you into some situation that you didn't want. Now let's listen to this little tidbit here, just because this one I think is pretty funny. I have not yet heard this clip, but it looks fun.
Okay, I have to tell you guys something before we get into comments, because I need to know that I'm not the only person who didn't know this. Okay, I didn't know this, but also Savannah didn't know this, so at least two of us didn't know this. I was on a walk with my husband, and it was thundering, I think, and I was like, oh, no big deal, we can keep walking because there's no lightning. And he was like, what do you mean by that? And I said, it's just thunder. Lightning is the problem. And then my husband was like, you know that it can't thunder without lightning, right? That thunder is the sound of lightning. My mind was completely blown. I promise you, in my 35 years of living, I had never heard that. And I just need to know in the live chat right now if this is just a girl thing, because me and Savannah didn't know this, or is this literally just me and Savannah are the only people in the entire world?
No, you're just a mean girl who thinks that she's very intelligent and doesn't know basic facts. And this is, again, why would I trust somebody to analyze geopolitical machinations, assassinations, warfare, Israel versus the West, when she doesn't even know what thunder is? This is a foolish person. And you're all being led into foolishness by listening to foolish people. Now, how many times have we seen in media foolish people gain giant audiences and are propped up? And yet you all just say, the only reason you would talk about this is because you're jealous. You're just jealous of Candace. You're just a BB Bucks loser. You can't get an audience. You're so jealous. Or what if I'm actually right? What if I know what I'm talking about here? Real N-word. What's up, real N-word?
What's up?
What's on your mind?
I wanted to ask you, what's your opinion on what's going on in Iran right now with our involvement?
We're about to get to that after we finish the Candace segment, but of course, obviously, I don't think it was wise to go to war for Israel and to support the Greater Israel Project, which I've been talking about for 15 years.
Do you have a source for that? You have a source for that, Jay?
Candace has a source, and she showed it.
Okay, all right, there you go.
Yeah. So why are you trying to use low IQ arguments, Tristan? Because she had a source, so she showed it on the screen.
Do you have a source for me using low IQ arguments?
Candace said Candace said you're using low IQ arguments. She had a source on the screen. You can go look it up.
Dang, all right. I didn't think you were gonna come back like that. All right, fine. Apef, what's up?
Aref, Jay.
Aref.
Hi, is everything okay? Can you hear me?
No, everything is not okay. Everyone in the West is dumb. So no, things are not okay. They're in spiritual delusion.
Basically, I'm calling from Italy as a Persian who basically migrated here 3 years ago. I've just finished my studies. I've just gotten an entry job, and right now I can't tell you how euphoric I am that my people are getting freed from the Islamic yoke of these mullahs and ayatollahs. And thing is, basically, my only qualms with the situation in Iran is that I don't like this Reza Pahlavi guy.
Yeah.
Because he has too many links to the shady side of the banking elites.
Sure.
That's the only thing that is a bit concerning to me.
So let me ask you
this. The entire rest of the picture is very good. Like, the referendum is going to be banging Islamists into the I won't say the word because
Well,
it's also
so let me ask you a question. So some people are concerned that he doesn't have enough popular support. So could
no,
this?
he has popular support, Jay. I'm
No, no.
sorry for interrupting you, but I have to set 3 facts straight. One, people who say that
Enough. I said
American,
enough popular support. So let me finish the question, then you can say what you want. What I was going to say is it possible that in the vacuum you could get a worse Ayatollah or somebody?
Jay, it is literally impossible for anything to go wronger than what was going wrong under the Ayatollah. There is nobody worse than the Ayatollah.
So how does
The
just
thing
killing? But
is,
isn't there an entire
Praetorian
app?
Guard, the Praetorian Guard is IRGC. The Praetorian Guard will flee the country the moment they don't get any money. This is not an ISIS situation. This is not a homegrown Sunni-based,
Yeah, I understand.
some kind of situation like that. This is the Praetorian Guard. The people have turned on them. These are not regulars. These are Praetorians, and they will flee the country the moment the people cut their money off. The second thing is, no problem Iranians have faced during the past 50 years is because of American sanctions. 260 billion blessed dollars of our oil, of our toil, was blocked in the US banks, and when they freed it, not a single dollar was seen by a single Iranian. The entire regime could have built up entire infrastructures in Iran, and they did nothing but to cultivate terror in the entire area. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, there has been not a single dime of Israel paid to any protester in Iran that I know of, and I know thousands of these people.
Okay,
This
well,
has been completely homegrown. People have given their
I don't know
blood
about all
for it.
that.
Have bled in the streets for
Okay.
it. And people,
All right. Yeah, this isn't a sermon here. You can't give a sermon.
What is this guy's deal? So yeah, I'm wondering what this guy thinks is going to happen. They're just going to all the Iranians are going to come together and skip into the sunset in some beautiful liberal paradise.
Well, the idea that the CIA is not helping to fund this is preposterous. I mean, this is the same model of the Operation Ajax, so this is ridiculous. Now, I don't care.
The U.S. has been openly saying that they're trying to do, color revolution style regime change.
I know.
And openly promoting this. And every time
it was called the Green Revolution.
People, rise up, guys. And then what's been happening? It seems like there haven't been enough people that have actually done anything. I mean, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah, so back in 2009, we had the Gene Sharp color revolution model right here. I'll show you guys on the screen. This is the Iranian Green Revolution. Obviously, this is a Western CIA-funded color revolution. All the color revolutions are essentially the Western Gene Sharp model of, quote, democracy. Now, I think that Ahmadinejad was crazy. I think he was a weird cult leader. I think that Shia Islam is crazy. I've debated with them. We've argued with Dr. Khalil. Nice enough guy, but the religion is insane. It's a totally crazy religion. And they do all kinds of crazy. It's a world hub for transitioning, right? Tristana would know. He's been there. He tried to get a transition in Iran. It didn't work for him. He wasn't woman enough.
You keep dead naming me, dude. I'm a MAGA grifter now, man. I've
detransitioned. Okay, you're a MAGA grifter now.
Now that it's cool to be anti woke, I'm the trendy anti woke former trend.
He's just alerted me that he has unsubbed. Okay, good. Goodbye. I'm glad that you don't know about the fact that the CIA has been.
Want to bring him back and have him lecture us for 30 more minutes about exactly what's happening in Iran?
Oh, he's already unsubbed because I just showed him that the Green Revolution was a color revolution the whole time. Now, again, so he won't even take into account that I agree that the Ayatollahs are corrupt. But what I was going to say next was the Ayatollahs have had deals with the West. They have had secret deals with Western intelligence going all the way back to the Cold War. And
isn't the U.S. good enough evidence that, when you get rid of the old boss, you get the same old boss with a new boss?
Yeah. Well,
And
again,
that's what they do in other countries as well.
right. They did the exact same thing where they tried to then basically make an ally or a puppet out of the next guy, right? So when the Shah didn't succeed, guess what the CIA and British intelligence did? They immediately made deals with Ayatollahs. There you go.
Well, did you see, Jay, how the new Ayatollah who was going to step up? They started saying that he had been killed. Like very soon after it was announced, they started saying, "Oh, he's been killed by a rocket now." And then Elon Musk deleted his Twitter account. So we might see kind of a whack-a-mole. And the regime in the U.S. has kind of already signaled that they're looking at maybe 4 more weeks or so of campaign. So I think maybe they've expected to just play whack-a-mole with all the new Ayatollahs and whatever the IGRC throws out.
British intelligence and the CIA installed the Ayatollah Kashani right here. And by the way, this is not just this declassified UK website. You can find this even on The Guardian. I've read this in probably 5 different big geopolitical texts, whether it's Stephen Dorrell or whether it's Mark Curtis's book or Dreyfus. This is discussed by all these people. Oh, by the way, the Mossad also has had arms deals with the Ayatollahs. So nobody tells you that except for
But look at
Berezovsky.
look at Mom Donnie getting in New York and then immediately switching to now we're going to raise taxes on everybody. So, like, people, if you look at the the lower level, the mayoral level in a city, about how fast people switch, you can't see that that's happening on an international level.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny what happened over in Venezuela. It's still unclear the long-term ramifications, but it seems like they did effectively kind of get their, either through blackmail, threats, or other ways, they kind of lubricated the situation before they went in there and took out Maduro. And his vice president steps up, and it's still the same regime. They've just signaled, okay, we're going to do business with you, but now it's fine. So now the Chavistas in Venezuela are okay because they're going to give you the oil and you're going to send it over to Israel.
Oh, so, sign me up. I heard I'm getting oil.
Now,
now.
I want to ask. I want to crowdsource my intelligence because I didn't fact check it through Candace, but because I know because if Candace says it, she's got a source. She wouldn't say something without a source. This image is going around of Ariana de Rothschild wearing a bunch of Masonic garb. I could believe this is real. However, with AI, we just simply don't know. So does anyone know if this is actually a real image? I'm looking to see if anybody, quote, fact checked it, but I don't really see anybody doing it. So, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because right before we were going to do this live stream, Chase Geyser started replying to me that Masonry, because of course Chase formerly was InfoWar host, is defending his Freemasonic positions that I disagree. I would not be a Mason if it was against Jesus Christ. Many of the people who write about this, like Albert Pike, were arrogant, egotistical. Otherwise, it's a wholesome fraternity. And he was a self-righteous, incessant babbler. Well, the problem is that it's not just Albert Pike, but pretty much any Masonic text that you read. I have a whole shelf of Masonic materials and books, whether it's Mackey, McCoy, or Manly P. Hall. Like they don't essentially say anything different about who Jesus was and denying the Trinity. So the fact that Chase Geyser himself says, well, I can be a Christian and be a Mason, that's different from whether Masonry as an institution is anti-Christian, because its specific teaching about the generic theism, the generic deity, is that you can believe in any God. Okay, well, any God is not Jesus and not the Trinity. So that's a mutually exclusive position. That'd be like saying, well, yes, Marxism is an atheist movement, but I'm a Christian Marxist because I'm still a Christian in this atheist movement. It doesn't make any sense. So no, you cannot be a Mason and be a Christian because the organization itself is committed to an anti-Christian position across the board. It's not just Albert Pike. So I'm kind of surprised that that's the level of argumentation that Chase is taking. And I would add that that's not just me saying that. When we were at Timcast, we went down to Alexandria, Virginia, and some of you may or may not know that Alexandria, Virginia has a giant Masonic monument that is not the Washington Monument. This is in Alexandria, not in DC. You can see from this top of this thing, though, you can see the Washington Monument. This thing is almost as tall or equally as tall as that. And it's got multiple levels and floors to it. It's called the Washington Masonic Monument. Let me pull it up. And we went and took a tour. Why did I do this? Is it because I'm secretly a Mason? No, I wanted to ask the Masonic historian tour guide a bunch of questions, right? To get it from themselves, right? Washington Masonic Memorial in Alexandria, Virginia. So here is the building. You can see it here. It's kind of looks like a Mormon temple. It's literally the same architecture as the Mormon temple because, of course, Joseph Smith just copied and pasted all the Masonic stuff. And many, many floors. It's massive. It's huge. It has an audience hall. It's got multiple Masonic lodges within it. Every floor is a giant kind of Masonic hall or museum. And as you can see, here is Washington here. This is up towards the top of it. This is one of the lower level floors there. This is a painting mural celebrating St. John's Day, which is one of the Masonic holidays, together with John the Evangelist, together with John the Baptist. Now, keep in mind, they use all this biblical imagery and terminology to dupe dumb people to think that it's Christian. And yet here we have a giant mural of Mecca. Anybody who's a Christian, who has any sense that isn't an idiot like Cameron at Cucking Christianity or Trent Doherty or a Vatican II Nostra Aetate person, knows that there's nothing about Mecca that's at all related to the biblical deity. It's total bullcrap. And that yet you have it right here. They see the supreme deity as manifested in all the religions. Now, how is that compatible with Christianity, Chase Geyser? I said, when I toured the giant Masonic memorial, the explanation of the Masonic curator historian was that their philosophy is, quote, a supreme deity that is, quote, generic theism. This is identical to Vatican II's generic theism. In fact, they even have a giant mural honoring the Kaaba in Mecca. So, no, Chase, what you're saying is simply not true. And by the way, we're supposed to have a debate with Chase Geyser, if it'll ever come to fruition, about Masonry. But who knows if that'll ever actually happen. So I don't know. Anyway, any thoughts on Masonry and compatibility with Christianity? Esteemed panel, do you guys have any thoughts?
Only if it's quantum masonry.
Quantum masonry? Okay.
Yeah, that's the only
The
one.
next level of masonry, quantum masonry.
Well, apparently what you're saying is that guy is saying that I don't have to believe in all of the guys who are the progenitors, the original guys in masonry. I can just have my own masonry where they're not there. They're not the experts. I am.
Well, what's ironic about that is that those kind of experts, you read Albert Pike, Morals and Dogma, and it kind of outlines exactly how they dupe each layer of initiates, and how by the end you're given a completely different paradigm than you are as an entered apprentice and a master mason. So at least in the Scotch Rite. So it's, I mean, you.
I'm not going to tell you the name, but like the amount of crazy emails, Jay, you probably have never gotten crazy emails, so I'm talking to the rest of the panel. But anyways, did I get the straight?
Hey,
just
Jamie,
kind of in this genre.
I've never got crazy emails ever.
I'm following you for many years since you are dealing with spiritual values. There you go, spiritual values. I'd like to make you aware of the new science of gnosis and the universal law, UL, which I discovered in my private research institute in Munich in 1994, and which is the greatest discovery in the history of human science. Thus, the new gnosis of the UL is scientifically irrevocable and renders the scientific proof of God. Which God?
For the first time in human history, you can visit my website where you can find 18 scientific books for free. There you go, guys. And more than 35,000 publications dealing with all aspects of science, economics, politics, history, philosophy, and human gnosis. However, if you want to know what will happen this year that will probably offset all current predictions of most agnostic experts in politics, you should start with this. Dude, I got to learn this guy's marketing techniques.
What are you reading? What is this?
Yeah, I'm in. I'm all in. Why haven't I published stuff like this? I'm fake. If you want to know what's going to happen, right? Just make it all like prophecy stuff and add the word. All you have to do, add science, the word science in there. And by the way, that's why they actually added social science in there, was to legitimize that area, because nobody took it seriously.
Oh yeah,
right, yeah. They wanted to legitimize Freud,
right.
and then also all of the critical theory stuff. New science. See the scam here? It's not just adding science to legitimize whatever crazy stuff he's coming up with.
Now,
but new science.
I want to note that
isn't the Chase Geyser, is he advocating like York Rite Masonry?
it could be, but I want to show you guys first of all that.
But
Go ahead.
real quick,
Go ahead,
let me
John.
just
Yeah.
add this in,
Go ahead.
is remember the John Robeson book, Proofs of a Conspiracy?
Yeah.
That was one of the first things that kind of hit me to this like split mindset with Masons, is that I was reading that book and then he's like, oh no, York Rite Masonry is good. It's the Illuminati Masonry that's bad.
Right.
And it's like, so there's always going to be this, alluding to that, like, oh, there was once this good Freemasonry, but then bad Masons took it over.
Yes.
But the York Rite Masonry itself is still rooted in like, a monad as well. Right?
Correct. Yeah. And just to show, first of all, the idea that they don't like Albert Pike is not true. Albert Pike is the Bible of Scottish Rite Masonry. Here you see, and you guys can screenshot that and read it later. I'm not going to read three or four pages of this, but this is his chapter on Christianity. So let's see exactly what Albert Pike in Morals and Dogma says the meaning of Christianity is. And you'll notice on those 2 pages, he says, first of all, the Trinity is borrowed from the Greek philosophers. He says his view is actually the view of Plotinus, and that the world is an eternally generated reality from the monad. So it's Neoplatonic perennialism is Albert Pike's view. And he says the Holy Spirit is not a person, it's an impersonal force. So this is Masonry. This is their doctrine of God. This is, believe it or not, Albert Pike has a chapter on the church fathers. And this whole chapter is to say the real Trinitarian doctrine, the real teaching of the mystical Jesus is Neoplatonism. So guess who has the exact same view as Albert Pike? Origen. Literally on that page, he basically says Origen was correct. The church fathers got it wrong. Masonry, at least his Scottish Rite brand of it, teaches Neoplatonic emanations. There you go. So no, you cannot be a Freemason. And he's going to say, well, but I don't like Albert Pike. Well, okay, you're out of the minority. Then you're out of the scope of all the rest of accepted Scottish Rite Masonry, and you're in some supposed blue or York Rite or whatever. But why would I want to be part of Masonry when it's united with the Scottish Rite? It's just two dialectics of some. It's a way to dupe people that have an anti-Christian or have a pro-Christian way of thinking, to say, oh, well, you can still be a Mason, just go with this track. Well, it's still anti-Masonic or anti-Christian because Masonry is against throne and altar. Their degrees have stabbing the papal tiara, the mitre, the king. So it's to overthrow king and altar and establish democracy. The entire spiel that I got from the guy at the monument was religious systems create strife and division, and Masonry creates unity and tolerance for all religions and all people and all faiths. And I'm like, okay, so you have to believe in a supreme deity? Yes, just any deity. Okay, so what if it's Satan? Oh, well, that doesn't count. So it's a sales pitch for dumb people, and only dumb people would believe this, and with no, discernment or critical thinking. Like, well, now wait a minute. Like, how am I going to be united with a Hindu dude who believes in, burning his his wife or whatever? If he dies, the wife has to burn herself in immolation. So is that the same God as the God of Protestantism? It may be, but no, Masonry is a Judaic Protestant general theistic esoteric society that ultimately is kind of atheistic or satanic. So you cannot, and every historic Christian body has forbidden its members to be Masons, except for some of the Protestants who have had an affinity for Freemasonry. But Orthodoxy and Catholicism, you're forbidden to be a Freemason. Agent, what's up? And by the way, there are people saying in the chat, "Oh, he doesn't understand Masonry." Okay, well, come educate me. Come hop on here and tell me where I'm wrong, because I've got a whole stack of Masonic books over there.
Masonry makes good men better. Just makes good men better, Dave. Come on.
It's all so low tier,
I mean,
dude.
Mormons argue the same way.
I know.
You've got it all wrong. That's not the.
Well, Mormonism is Masonry. They're basically the same.
They're
Yeah, you're right.
But you like it when you actually talk to Masons, they won't even tell you what it is. They'll just say they'll give you slogans. That's all they have. So just make them better.
By the way,
I used to work with a bunch of Freemasons at a job I had. I think I know you guys know the story, but they asked me to be a Mason, and I said no. And they said, actually, you know more about Masonry than we do. That's why we want you to be one.
then they were like, we weren't asking.
Well, when I was on the tour, I played Dom, and I just sort of like would every now and then throw in a thing. Like I remember saying, "Oh, interesting. Yes, Albert Pike discusses the rough ashlar and it being made into a perfect stone," and he was like, "Well, how did you know that Albert Pike said that?" So I was like, I know a little bit about this.
That's what we all learn in elementary school. Did you go to 6th grade history class?
The Boomer Masons aren't even aware that like Freemason stuff has been on the internet for like 30 years.
Right.
So they still think it's like a secret.
Yeah, right. No, that's how this guy was. He was like, how'd you know that? And then he started trying to describe like the two pillars, and I'm like, oh, you mean Jacob and Boaz? And he's like, how did you know the two pillars were Jacob and Boaz? Because I've read the Old Testament and know what Masonry borrows from Solomon's temple, right? So it's like, it's not that.
Do you guys think that? The influence of Masonry, the prominence of Freemasonry, has declined over the last couple decades?
Absolutely. In fact, the guy was talking about it. The guy was saying, we've had such a crisis in membership. People just don't want to join it. And we can't figure out why.
I feel like it's kind of been Rotary clubbed into. People see it as just kind of boomer social club, cigar club.
Correct. And when we went to the thing, there was no one else touring. Nobody was there, just us, which was a little creepy too, by the way.
It definitely has. I think in certain areas. I mean, I only know about America, but in certain areas in the country, it might still have like a little bit of a stronghold. But as far as like the stronghold that it had for the duration of the 20th century, it's definitely not up to what it used to be.
Like Chabad Lubavitch is the new Mason.
Yeah. Well, congrats to people like Anthony Westgate. He dug up in the emails. Epstein was part of that. What was it called? The astrology. It was based around astrology. The something club. I just went blank on it. But apparently, Epstein was a member of a secret society, something astrology related, which is fascinating because when you go into the Masonic temple and you tour all these different levels in the museum and their all their symbolic stuff, they have a high key importance for astrology. They had multiple books on astrology. Now, I'm not putting stock in astrology because I think what happens is the Masons are saying, oh, the ancient religions that look to the stars, the Chaldeans, etc., that used the stars, the Sabaeans, etc., as the Zodiac Club. Thank you. That was Epstein's secret society he was a part of. the Masons are basically just saying, oh, we're doing like they did, where they studied the stars and they had a science, but they pretended it is a religion, right? And I think as you get higher in Masonry, they kind of tell you, look, it's kind of atheistic. We're just using the symbols of the religions to, to basically manage humanity. That was what Masonry was supposed to be. And it was an intelligence structure and network for the British Empire, especially. That's where it comes out of, especially modern, 1700s Grand Lodge, et cetera. That's British intelligence spy stuff. In fact, if you watch Man Who Would Be King, and when the guy was giving us the tour, I started bringing up Rudyard Kipling. He's like, oh, Brother Rudyard, he was one of our greatest members. I was like, oh, yeah, like Man Who Would Be King, where they pretend that they are, reincarnated. Sean Connery pretends that he's a reincarnation of Alexander the Great, and they dupe this tribe as if he's the savior of their tribe. And he's like, yes, how did you know this? And I'm like, well, I've read this stuff. I know about Rudyard Kipling. I know he's a Mason. But I'm wondering, is that how you view religion? That you're sort of the Sean Connery, Michael Caine, Duper's Delight guys who think that you can craft a religion, the craft, whereby you dupe people into thinking that you have all these mysteries. And it's really just a way to manage humankind, spy on them, and have networks of control, essentially, is what I think it was. And anyway, that was a little too much for that guy, because he was just like, look, we're not involved in conspiracies. There's no conspiracies. Now, we might have had a hand in the American Revolution. I'm like, well, then that's being involved in conspiracy. Wouldn't that be? Well, maybe in that case, but not generally. Agent, what's up?
Hey, thanks for having me. It's okay. I don't want to bring the flow if we can go back on Candace.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, just before that, I've been dubbing some of your clips in French because obviously in the Francophone world we have absolutely no one like you guys talking.
Oh, brother, you've been putting me stuff in the dubstep, man. You've been putting me lyrics and me fireballs into the dubstep, brother. Oh, you mean dubbing, not dubstep.
At least some of your content, because obviously everyone is not on your level. I mean, no one is even talking about the stuff you guys are talking about. So I just wanted to ask if it's okay to take some of your videos on your channel to dub them in French.
Absolutely, yes. Everybody should clip me. I tell people.
Jay admittedly working with Frankists.
There we go. I'm working with the French Foreign Legion. Candace would say that guy was a French Foreign Legion.
With French Foreign Legion Frankists. This is insane.
Insane. Wow. Exposed right there. Foreign Legion assassins. I'll tell you, the only Foreign Legion person that I would work with, I think you guys know who I'm going to say. In fact, it's one of his best movies. And by the way, this is an overlooked Van Damme classic. If you watch this movie, you'll actually be surprised. It's actually a really good movie. One of Van Damme's last great projects was The Legionnaire. And so every time I hear Queen Candace talking about this, I'm over here. I cannot type, dude. I'm over here thinking about my boy Jean-Claude over here. 1998. Your boy Jean-Claude VD right there. The Legionnaire. He's forced into joining the French Foreign Legion. And it's actually a really good movie. So if you're looking for a forgotten Van Damme, I recommend it. It's Motor. What's up? Go ahead, John.
Je suis Perusien du complot.
Ooh, dude getting fancy over here speaking damn Latin and shit. What's up? It's Motor. I'm you.
Hey, man. You kind of pulled some stitches on me the other day, Dyer.
What?
The whole dispensationalism, right? And I'm sorry if it's off topic. But
No,
I mean,
you can talk about anything.
The past 12 months,
Okay.
I had to explain dispensationalism to somebody. And it was what I was taught. And while I don't have a lot of shake for religion, that kind of, I mean, it plugged all the holes theology-wise. I mean, can you maybe expand more, if it's just the cliff notes of what would be another way to look at, the whole paradigm? Because, I mean, I know we're not an accident. We don't accidentally become humans and as perfect of an piece of nature, whatever that we are. But yeah, man, if you could kind of give me some like idea where to look as well as the people I might read, because that's
Can you hold on? Can you just state what the question is? Because I'm confused as to what the question is.
all right. So in explaining God's drastic difference between how he has treated humanity as a whole in theology, all right? Dispensationalism. Old Testament was God the Father. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and part of Acts is God the Son.
No.
And then...
No.
That's
No.
Marcionism.
That's Marcionism. That's a
your
heresy.
heresy's confused.
Am I? Okay, well...
Hey, look, appreciate it. It's okay. I thank you for your question. Dispensationalism is the idea that God had different plans for different people at different time periods, right? So there's like an Adamic period based on the decision that Adam and Eve would make. Then it's the period of Noah and Abraham, and then, so it's not covenant theology. It's that God is changing the plans and doing different things with different groups. So there's a dual covenant theology, a dual track, where there's a promise to the Israelites in Genesis 12 that can never be revoked. That's always about the land in Israel, right? You heard this from Huckabee. Huckabee was exemplifying this in the Tucker debate. And he was like, the children of Abraham always have that promise from Genesis 12, 15, 17. It's like Galatians 3 says that promise is to Christians baptized into Christ. So no, the answer is it's not always to the genetic descendants. And Tucker did a great job in that debate of showing the absurdity of everything that Huckabee tried to use as a justification. So that's dispensationalism. And it also has a pretty elaborate end times theology of the rapture and the millennium and all that, and the restoration of animal sacrifices. However, Marcionism is the idea that there's different deities involved in different time periods, or that the Old Testament God was the era of an evil, mean God, and then Jesus came as this nice God of love, and he overthrows the mean God of the Old Testament. That's the Marcionite view, and all of those are incorrect. Now, this guy is going crazy with super chats. He seems to be bothered by something, so let's see what his problem is. I thank you for sending me all this money, but let's see what your issue is here with all these super chats. So he says, jailbots.com. I'm ready to debate. I'm in the spaces. Okay, who are you? Where are you? I don't see anybody called jailbots. You sent me like $100, so you're welcome to come up and debate. Jailbots, $20. I will go on camera to prove I'm in Russia. Oh, is this RF? This is that same guy? You do not want to engage in Candace's claims. No, this is a different guy. No, I'm ready to engage in Candace's claims right now. What are you talking about? I didn't make the claims. Candace did. Tristan said, look it up. It's hilarious. They are a low IQ. You're calling her low IQ. Okay, is this the other guy? I think this is the other guy. Jailbot says, I will go on camera to prove I'm in Russia. Jay, stop running. Discuss the 50 takeover Department of Defense human feud going on. I have no idea what you're talking about. Bro, you just picked the Jew military industrial complex simp for your EO bro. Dude, you sound schizo. I have no idea what you're talking about. You didn't even research Title 10 versus 50 struggles beforehand. You got to. I've been reading this stuff for 26 years. The fact that you found some conspiracy website with some nonsense doesn't tell me anything. Ask Metropolitan Jonah about me. I am on the board of St. Demetrios. About what? I have no idea what you're even talking about. I disagree with Jay and he blocked me. I don't know who you are. I'm sending you money from Russia.
It's the guy that was in here talking to us, man. The guy that was saying, just trust me. Is the Candace has all the evidence of the Egyptian plane gang stalking Charlie Kirk.
Okay. I'm not interested in any more engagement, so have fun with whatever you're
Can I say
involved
one thing about,
Sure.
about the dispensationalist rapture thing you were talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So the entire the end of the 20th century and the 21st century that we're now living through if anybody is interested in this, you need to go look up a little book called The Late Great Planet Earth by Hal Lindsey, because that is the model that the powers that be are running on. I'm not saying that that's a true worldview. I'm saying that that's what they think is manifesting into reality, and then they themselves are helping to manifest it into reality. And Hal Lindsey, with his goofy book that he wrote in 1973, based off of weird dispensationalist eschatology, literally briefed the Pentagon and Ronald Reagan and multiple people in the military, and has created a ripple effect that is now affecting our world currently. It has trickled down, and literally the reason you have Calvary Chapel pastors that are all, former military or former CIA is because of that book. And those are the people who are guiding this, current worldview.
Okay,
we were talking about that 10 years ago.
Okay, so is this the guy that was thoughtful that claimed he was in Russia, the first guy? But he's got a different handle over here, so I'm confused as to who's who. Thoughtful, if you want to tell me your handle and you want to come back, and if you want to have a debate, that's fine, but you're going to sit here and call us low IQ when we're using the exact same argument to illustrate why it's not a good argument. Don't come in here and calling us low IQ and then get mad that I booted you. You called us low IQ. We're not low IQ. So you're just falling into emotionalism. And if you want to come back in, when he read them in a row, they sounded worse than when it happened. Okay, again, dude, we don't know what you're talking about. You're spurging out about random ass military industrial complex documents. And let's go one at a time. I'm happy to address and debate every single topic one at a time. So jail bots, you give me your handle. It was thoughtful something. And I will unblock you because I can't. Why was he booted? Because he's just spamming nonsense. I have no idea what he's talking about. You didn't read this document and you have low IQ. Dude, we're not low IQ. And the fact that you know Metropolitan Jonah, I don't care about that. What is that supposed to prove to me? A lot of people know about Metropolitan Jonah. So what? It's like, you don't have to give me your cred, your street cred. Just come make coherent arguments. Okay, I'm glad that you want to support, but why are you going to say you're going to support me and then you're going to call us all low IQ? I mean, you got clergy here too. It's not just me. It's also intelligent people who have been studying this stuff for 20 years.
Clergy with 170 IQ.
I heard that you had 6 million IQ.
Yeah.
6 gorillion IQ.
What's the Chinese guy that runs around?
Yeah, that guy, by the way, I think people pointed out that he was he owns the website that. Okay, thoughtful. Yeah, thoughtful. I am unmuting you so you can come back here. And by the way, okay, you're unmuted. So come explain to us why we're supposed to. Do you understand? If Candace is a broken clock, right twice a day, that's not good enough to be a source for this type of information. I don't understand why you would take issue with that. And when I said that, you tried to walk it back. Like, well, okay, maybe she's not. The debate is whether she's credible. Okay, well, Brother Nathaniel's not credible, and he raises legitimate questions at times. Does that mean I should listen to Brother Nathaniel because he's absolutely insane? So, thoughtful, you are unblocked. Come back and convince us of why we're supposed to listen to Candace. And your argument about the Egyptian plains, it didn't prove anything. What is the Egyptian plain supposed to prove? You just argue. Go ahead.
Just going back to what he was saying, if I remember correctly, first he said, well, you guys shouldn't just brush aside Candace. I think basically he was saying she does a lot of good. You know, the benefits outweigh the negative aspects. And then he said, he brought up Alex Jones. Right, so I think part of his thing is he might have a little bit of a grudge against Alex. I think
Sure.
sounds
like
that was part of his line of reasoning was, well, then we got Alex Jones. Then we have to disregard everything Alex Jones said because he's been wrong about this or this. I think it really comes down more to just he kind of personally enjoys Candace. And look, it's fine if you enjoy her. That's like I give you permission to enjoy Candace. We're just like we're giving our opinions. We don't think this is a valid, we think that it's somewhat, even I think it's somewhat dangerous kind of what she's doing. I think she's making a little weird cult all around her thing, and I think it's silly. But I mean, I got friends who listen to Candace. I don't dislike my friends who listen to Candace, so don't take it personal to the guy.
I get it. I know you don't dislike me.
I mean, I don't know what you mean you can't see the space. I just tweeted it at you at your profile. So, I mean, we've had people leave and come back before. So, and by the way, your profile is basically nothing on it. So I don't know why you think I'm supposed to think you're credible.
You should restart the app, maybe quit the app and then open it again and find it.
That'll shut down the whole space. That doesn't work.
No, not you. The guy that's looking for the thing.
Okay.
Come on, Jay Dyer.
By the way, if we're low IQ, why are you even wasting your time with us? That means you're low IQ because you're trying to convince low IQ people of stuff.
I've thought about that too. If I'm actually generally retarded for arguing with retarded people, like who's more retarded, me or the person I'm arguing with?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, just for the record, everybody knows here I listen to Candace all the time, but I agree with Jay and Tristan, so I don't know how that works.
There's the link, dude. I don't know what your problem is. Jay's page is messed up. You got to type in his entire handle. How is my page messed up?
I wonder if there's something weird because you changed your handle today, that it's now @Jay Dyer instead of something else.
Yeah, I mean, it's been changed for a while. So.
Okay, well, you don't have to yell at me about it.
Again, everybody's so sensitive here. There's the link right there. I don't know what you're talking about. It could be that. It also could be that if you boot somebody from a space, maybe they can't immediately come back, even if you unblock them. Maybe they're still like blocked.
Hey, Tristana, you are sensitive. I'd lay off the melatonin if I were you.
Oh, wow. And you dead name me again.
I do want, there was a point you guys were making earlier, and I do want to re-emphasize that point is I think, and I just think this is a general thing. I think when,
hey, Jamie,
when there's when women are good looking and they say something conservative, then people gravitate towards that.
Yeah, because that's what Syrian Girl was saying.
Yeah, and I think that is definitely true, and I think when you have a spectrum of colors, especially like with Candace, I think the way it works is like not only does she have the race factor, because they're like the conservatives have been beat down so long for especially during the 20th century, is how racist they are.
Mm-hmm.
Is when a black person, no matter if it's a male or female or whatever, but if they are semi good looking and they are put together and they have a family, obviously Candace has 4 kids. They see this because the way everything is presented is that black people, don't have it together. So when something like that comes up, there's like a, emotional thing that gets attached to it where because white people have been told they've been, racist forever. They're like, oh, this is something that I can gravitate towards, and it proves that I'm not a racist. It's a weird psychological thing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
And That might be, I mean, I'm not saying that that's thought out ahead of time. I don't know. She could be a psyop. Obviously, I'm not saying that she's not. But those are things that people don't think about when they gravitate towards something, and then you get led up the garden path. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, you were talking about it earlier, is it starts out credible, it starts out normal.
Right.
Even the stuff with the Macron stuff, it's like, okay, it's a little weird, but it's like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But then once you get led up the garden path to where it's like, okay, Charlie Kirk's a time traveler, you know.
Yeah, let's listen to this.
Sentence caught my attention in the article. He spoke about the street lamps that would go off when he would run, about the special school that he had to go to. He spoke about a lot of the things that were strange in our childhood, the testing that both of us had to endure. We spoke about the fact that we could both astral project. You know all of this, of course. You have his phone. And how surprised we were when we learned that not everybody does that naturally.
This is not a credible person. She's claiming to get information through astral projection. Okay, she talks about opening the third eye. This is ridiculous. Anybody who is defending this kind of nonsense is just out to lunch. Charlie and I spoke a lot about his third eye and the street lamps going off. This is retarded. And like, what are you getting out of this? I don't understand what you're even getting out of this. Now, here is her guy. And this, remember, they've already lied. They've already forgotten and moved past all this stuff because it was a huge embarrassment with this con artist guy, Mitch Snow. And here she is right here in the clip. I never accused anybody. There was never accusation. He says 95% sure, 99% sure that it was Erica Kirk. And again, what's his story? He went to the Fort Huachuca because he's owed money from the government. And he happened to overhear in a skiff, which is not at all plausible. That's where you go into a soundproof room. The generals and colonels planning the assassination. And did she apologize or issue any retractions because this guy was an obvious con man? No, of course not.
In a ponytail with those eyes. That was that person. They were there. And yeah, the head of security there, he was one of the people walking out with the congressman. Now, how would I know that? I just have a gift for recognizing people. And yeah, maybe it's not him. Maybe he has doppelganger, but somebody with the same mannerisms, the same crick in his neck, face, the waxy look on his face, hand gestures, shoulder shrug, gait, approximate height, hair.
So again, Jailbots, I appreciate you sending me all this money, but what you're saying doesn't make sense. You say she is crazy. It's obvious. Candace is insane. I'm not defending her. But you were defending her. What are you talking about? You literally said she's worth listening to because she asks good questions and she gets the information out and all that. I had the same view 6 months ago because I gave her the benefit of the doubt because she did a good expose on the background of Bibi Netanyahu and his intelligence background. And I thought, hey, this is actually a good show. She did pretty good. This is good information. But again, you would say yourself that disinformation has good stuff. And then you go down the garden path, like John said, into the crazy shit. And it just makes you look dumb. That's exactly what happened with the Q crap, right? Q said there's shady stuff going on at Comet Ping Pong. And then there's Epstein Island, right? That's the first stuff that Q was talking about. Okay, well, there's truth to that stuff, right? And then we heard about Podesta emails. Then we hear about WikiLeaks and Hillary's emails. All that's true. And then Q turns into there's 3 days of darkness and Trump's gonna announce a national emergency and they're gonna send in the Green Berets to arrest Tom Hanks and Hillary and Hillary's in Guantanamo and blah, 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 blah. And then it turns into quantum Q consciousness with the Q shaman and all this bullshit. This is obviously just dumb. It's obvious disinformation and boomer tard crap.
And they did this in the 90s.
Yes, Nasara.
They did this with Timothy McVeigh and the OKC bombing. Like, there was all sorts of stuff, like multiple things being run at that time where eventually what it did, and I'm not saying that there wasn't real stuff involved with that, but what they would do is they would like connect it to white supremacist groups, so it would all be discredited with Nazi stuff. So,
John, do you have Winnie Painting's book, Aberration and the Haunted Man of the Room?
Yeah, I read that a while back.
So let's give you another example. And I just think Candace, whether she knows it or not, whether she's malicious, I don't know. I can't prove that. It doesn't matter because she's just putting out disinformation, obviously. So if you go back to the period of PatCon, this is what, the 90s, I think. There was a movement in the 90s called NASARA, the National Economic Security Recovery Act. And the argument was that there are patriots in the government and they're about to pass a law to save us from Bill Clinton and all of his, bad stuff. And this is where we first get the quote, white hats narrative. The believers thought that there was a clandestine, positive group of people in the government working behind the scene to destroy the deep state and usher in a new era. And lo and behold, what does the AI even here link it to? Very similar to QAnon. Exactly. Core beliefs. They were going to take down the IRS. There would be an elimination of all credit card and bank debt. Everybody's debts would be wiped out. Turns out NASARA was a scam and defrauded millions of people through promising returns through impending financial relief. There was no NASARA, but a lot of dummies in the patriot sovereign citizen Ron Paul's camp of things believed in it. In fact, when QAnon was popular, they even tried to say that it's the same people as NASARA. Like, you can't make this up. It's the same idiocy, right? There was Operation Trust that the Bolsheviks did. And this was a secret movement, supposedly in Russia, that was going to beat the Bolsheviks because within the Bolshevik establishment, there were secret white hats, right? This was actually a Soviet counterintelligence deception operation that created a fake anti-Bolshevik underground. They were called the Monarchist Union. It was a lure to trap and execute the monarchists and the white army officers and foreign intelligence agents within Russia. Operation Trust. Oh, you mean exactly what the Q-Tard crap was. So, the world is not run by what people think. It's run by this kind of stuff. And it takes time and wisdom and a good sense about this stuff and discernment to not fall for these types of things. For example, it's not plausible that there is a secret underground group of white hats. If you've done this enough and you studied this stuff enough, you know that that's just not very plausible. It's not real. It's way more likely that it's an intelligence operation itself. And that's exactly what continues to happen with these things. Now, who's behind Candace or what? I don't know that. I don't need to know that because it's all the same markers and patterns of NASARA or Operation Trust. So, and then how do I know that? Well, once I start seeing the real and true information go off into Sumerian 2012 Project Camelot time travel crap, that's a disqualifier right there for me. So I no longer need to listen to this person. This person is disqualified. And if you have not been in this sphere long enough, I understand. Maybe you now think maybe there is Sumerian time travel technology. There's not. And a few years later down the road, you'll realize that's all bullcrap, as a lot of the conspiracy quote unquote world is. Now, here's the rest of Mitch Snow.
Cut. Definitely walk past me. And
if
in
you
the
had
hotel,
to put it at a percentage that you were looking at Brian Harpole, maybe he's got a brother in the military, who knows, right? Maybe he does have a doppelganger. He's got a twin brother, who knows? And I want to be clear, I can confirm
now that
on this podcast
twin
live
brothers
every step of your story in terms of where you went, what time you were there, that there was this big meeting that happened. I confirmed the location with other people that are on Fort Huachuca currently. I can confirm everything with metadata. I obviously can't confirm that you saw who you say you saw. If you had to put it at a percentage that you saw Brian Harpole, what percentage would you put it at?
95.
95%. Okay.
95 to 99. I mean,
Now remember, this is the person who was outed as a total grifter, total liar, con man. Right after this, said his dad is the Zodiac killer. Just total nonsense, right? Did she do any vetting at all? journalism. I think people think that journalism is just yapping behind a microphone and reading a teleprompter. Actually not even reading because you can't pronounce basic words. So it's not journalism. It's just influencer, which is basically to say meaningless.
When I saw him, on the interview with his face and gestures, with that photo, it struck me in my gut. I blew it off until there was, some other pictures that came up with other people.
What other people? Other pictures?
If you want me to say, there's a picture of Erica Kirk with a ponytail, and from her past.
So this is the guy claiming that he stumbled upon at Fort Huachuca a secret meeting to take out Charlie with Erica and a bunch of TPUSA people and a bunch of generals and colonels. If you believe this, you're dumb. You're just an idiot. You're a stupid person. So I can't help you with that if you actually believe that. And again, from a known con man.
That person matches who I saw at Fort Huachuca in the lobby the night before.
And what's the other pattern? Whenever this crazy theory gets laughed at, she moves on to the next crazy theory. It's the next episode of X-Files the next week with a new monster of the week.
And she was with that man in the lobby. And that man, he was present at that meeting the next morning.
If you had to put it at a percentage that you saw that the girl in the ponytail matches the description of Erica Kirk, what percentage would you put that at?
Those are really rare eyes. That's 95 to 99%.
So there we go. There's your groundbreaking investigative journalism over here, which is just absolute nonsense. I can't believe that you guys are so gullible after all that we've seen, and you guys are so gullible. All right, who's next? Let's see. Mart, what's up? Mart, unmute. By the way, guys, you can ask questions about anything. You want to talk about the war? You want to talk about Candace? You want to defend Candace? You want to give your arguments? You can. You want to talk about geopolitics? You want to talk about orthodoxy? Feel free. What's up, man?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so are we talking about Zionism today?
Any topic.
Okay. My question is, so I believe I saw something recently. I'm not an expert, but it was about Catholic political theology, and it dealt with the Zionist question. And I'm being euphemistic. Just a second.
So you saw something from Catholic political theology on the Zionist question? What else? Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was interrupted.
Go ahead. It's fine.
I saw it, and it dealt with the Zionist question. I'm being euphemistic. I don't know what the Orthodox historically have. I'm sorry, I'm a bit nervous.
Okay, so the classic Catholic tradition position would be opposed to Zionism because it's not just political, it's also quasi-religious, right? Because many of the early founders believed that this was also kind of a fulfillment of the Jewish people's spiritual destiny to be kind of the capital of the world. So if you read Moses Hess in Rome and Jerusalem, he speaks of it, even though he's not exactly a theist, he's more of a pantheist. He thinks of Zionism and Tel Aviv's, or Jerusalem being the capital of the world, as a sort of dialectical fulfillment of the destiny of the Jewish people, and that will, quote, save the world. So it's not totally apolitical, or excuse me, a-religious. It is also quasi-religious, and even as late as I think Pius X he was speaking against political Zionism. So that political support changed with Vatican II. Nostra Aetate, the gay Jewish guy that wrote Nostra Aetate, that changed the Roman Catholic papal position on Judaism. However, the papacy will still criticize the political actions of Zionism, but the papacy has affirmed the spiritual validity of rabbinic Judaism.
Yes, but more specifically, my question was about policies dealing with. Well, I'm trying. I don't really want to be very explicit because it's a controversial subject. But dealing with Jews, I don't know what the Orthodox did historically. My question would be: do you think any of those policies would be viable for a political project of today to deal with the problems that we have today?
I don't actually know what the probably the Catholic position is similar to the traditional Orthodox position, where there would be an allowance or a tolerance for the existence of Jews in Orthodox Christian countries, but they would be limited. At least some of the canon law in the Middle Ages would limit what they're allowed to do. So, for example, they couldn't open brothels. They couldn't, now actually in some Catholic countries they could, but presumably I would think that there would be limitations on what's allowed. And there may have been times where they were expelled. I'm not sure when it comes to Orthodox nations, but I don't know that any of those. I mean, Christianity doesn't have the political power that it used to have prior to the Enlightenment. So discussions about political Christianity and how it would relate to Judaism is just kind of not even a reality for the present time. If Christianity gained more prominence, it might be a discussion that you could have, but I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to
that. Okay. Thank you for the answer.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I don't know there's no immediate political solution, so I don't know what the answer is. Carlos, what's up? I mean, I think the solutions are just simply not political. They're religious. What's up, man? Carlos.
Yeah, just Eric, but on the disinformation thing, Alex had Juliet Bryant, one of Epstein's victims, on the other day.
Mm-hmm.
He and she mentions while at Zorro Ranch she saw a UFO,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the classic UFO. And if you're trying to do bad things to someone and you want to make them unbelievable, you show them something. I'm trying to think like an evil person. You show them something that will discredit anything else they say.
Yeah, right. I understand.
I think Candace, with the crazy stuff she says, I think she's a chaos agent. I don't know if she's just flaky, or she seems too well financed to just be your average flaky person who can't pronounce things. I wonder if she can say Corman. That would be a nice test for her.
Roger Corman? What are you talking about?
Like Obama, corpseman. When he's giving Medal of Honor to people.
Oh, corpseman. Okay, I got you. Yeah. No, I doubt she could pronounce that, but thank you for your comments. American, what's up? So again, people are like, how come you're not trying to suss out who killed Charlie Kirk? I mean, that's like saying, when are we going to get the trial for 9/11? You're not going to get that. I mean, I've been around for a while, so like, this is like Q-Target level crap. American Animal, what's up? I'm mute. Do you want to talk or not, man? All right, we'll move on. Carter, what's up?
Oh, Jay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, I'm a BIPOC transgender. I'm here to debate you on ancient Sumerian time travel tech. There's actually some new data coming to the mix.
Okay. Well, maybe we're twin flames. Why do we have to debate? Why can't we just be lovers?
Fuck, I don't know. I mean, I had to tell you about the new Dr. Kill Quigley book. It's called Hope and Tragedy. That's where they talk about it.
Okay. Well, I don't have any problem with that. In fact, I want us to be how can we be lovers if we can't be friends? How can we something if the fighting never ends? I say, how can we be lovers if we can't be friends? Is that my boy Bolton? Michael Bolton? There's a good Jewish man right there, Michael Bolton. Said I loved you, but I lied. This is more than love I feel inside.
That was actually when I was trans. That was my trans name was Michael Bolton.
Okay, put the bolts on.
Because I had a bolt on.
You had to bolt that thing on. Okay, I like where you're going. I feel you.
Howdy.
Gaddis, what's up, Gaddis? Lily Gaddis, what's up? Unmute.
Oh, hello.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about Zeus. I was in basically I've been studying myth and metaphysics and a lot of things like that, and I found three interesting things. First would be how basically Zeus overthrows Saturn, and that's like some natural law stuff that could correlate to how elites do some bad stuff to their children from because basically they think that young people will be stronger or counter the powers of the old. That's one. Second thing was how Zeus had like so many kids, and that is also a thing I've seen about the elites, how they want to basically populate the world with their DNA.
Yeah.
And the last interesting thing was that Zeus basically could throw lightning bolts, or I assume it's electricity, but to represent electricity in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've looked into, it's basically the top level or highest level of science can do is through electric measures, and all our interfaces with atomic levels or cosmology is actually on electric scale or medium, and how basically in modern world the offsprings of Zeus or offsprings of electricity is so prominent. And I just think that myth and that idea is very, very on top.
I think you're right, because Jamie just read Frankenstein, and there's a lot of predictive transhumanist motifs in Frankenstein. So that was a novel way ahead of its time, especially for transhumanism. And again, obviously the whole idea there that electricity is channeled to create life. Zeus, same idea. I think you're right. And also, the deep state has a very intense interest in directed energy weapons that's been studied for decades, going back to Tesla. All that stuff's real for sure. So yeah, that's some fascinating.
It goes into all the the UFO psyop stuff. How they also there seems to be there's an electromagnetic aspect to a lot of the experimental aircraft stuff that they've been playing around with for however long.
Good point.
And, yeah, and all that stuff. There's all this mysticism that's baked into the whole model surrounding UFOs and stuff. They want to create this mystique around it, because it does seem like there's an occult level to it. You look like the work of Jack Parsons and all early rocketry,
sure,
where they're not dealing with magnetism and electricity, but that really that's where they went with Lockheed and all the big aerospace things.
Again, how can we be lovers if we can't be friends? How can we something if the fighting never? And I'm singing this now for the world, not for you guys, because I want there to be peace in the world. So I'm singing Michael Bolton for world peace, in case you guys are confused, right? Let's see who's next. The dissident. What's up, dog? Rockets, how do they work? Dissident, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, Jay?
What's on your mind? Go ahead.
Anyways, I kind of had it's a mixture of a question and a point, but I find it very interesting considering the transpiring events going on in the Middle East, how quickly the MAGA people are willing to run cover for, well, the military operation, but there are no casualties. Oh, there are only a few casualties. Oh, there's only a few counterstrikes. And anyone who doesn't agree with the actions of the Trump administration the past year automatically, or maybe they don't want to vote for a Vance Palantir combo, is automatically a left-wing supporter and wants the country to go into the ground. How do you respond to people who continue to run cover for just the awful people that represent us on the right? Now, I don't even believe voting is really that effective, and I know you don't either, but
Right.
how do we even respond to these people? It's like, well, then you want abortion to be legal nationwide because you won't vote for the Zionist-controlled GOP.
I mean, there's no easy answers to any of these things. I mean, other than trying to reason people into positions, which is a long, slow, hard road. I don't know. There is no easy answer. I mean, you could rationalize, like Father Deacon points out, that voting, you could rationalize, as some of the elders and saints have said, that you vote for the candidate that's best for Christianity. You could reason it that way. And then, because you're not gonna ever find like perfect voting candidates or perfect platforms. It just doesn't exist. So it's a great question. I don't know what the answer is to that.
Yeah, because I talk to people, especially older people, and it's like, yes, I know, the GOP does represent us on X, Y, and Z issue, but we have to do it anyways. And it's like, where at some point, do people sit out to prove a point or try to find a way to push people to the right? And like I said, I agree with you that the solution is religious. It's Christianity. It's not political, obviously, but we do live in a world. So it's just kind of a tension that I think a lot of people deal with.
Yeah, well,
It's weird that it feels like the issues get tossed back and forth, and it's a weird managed dialectic because you have a fake right and a fake left, and most of the positions leading up to the election, what both sides are proposing and the positions that they take are purely signaling to the base that they're trying to harness the votes of. It doesn't matter, right? That once they get in, it's the same old same. So then the fake right is based on these stupid false pretenses of enlightenment liberalism, and the fake left is enlightenment liberalism but just more gay. So it's like it is difficult. Yeah, I just wonder how many of these people are either taking money or are compromised to a degree when I mean, look, Trump's done some good things, but obviously the military actions are very contrarian to what he's discussed running for election. Of course, politicians double speak all the time, but they're so quick to run interference and also so quick to condemn people for pointing out the contradiction because AOC might become president in 2028. It's pretty funny to me.
Well,
it seems like Newsom would be more likely than AOC. Whatever demonic goober they throw up.
I vote for any big booty Latina, including myself. So that's my stance. Apocrypha, what's up? Thank you, though. The great comments there. Apocrypha, what's up? John accidentally removed you. I didn't mean to.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, dog? By the way, they're saying that this recent they're saying that this new shooting today. By the way, of course, right on time. They're saying that he is a Islamic terror person, which, by the way, is plausible. We do have large amounts of Muslims now in the country, so it is plausible. However, that doesn't mean that he could not have been coerced or entrapped or motivated to do this, if it's even real. Ndiaga Diagne, Sinhalese Muslim. Property of Allah. Now, again, if you remember the new... Go ahead.
Oh, no, please, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, if you think back to the Newburgh sting, this could be a situation like that where you've got not the most intelligent black dudes from other countries or from prison who are coerced into doing something, which aids then the story of why we ought to continue the war with Islam, I guess is what we're still at Bush, neocon, supposedly Christianity versus Islam, Samuel P. Huntington, Clash of Civilizations type of stuff. But really, we all know that this has nothing really to do with Christianity. It is ultimately to do with the Greater Israel Project, which, again, I've been talking about that for 15 years. So what's up, man?
Yeah, my question is a little off topic from that.
Okay.
Just wondering, I guess, for people who are not necessarily religious, do you see a way to like collectivize or find common ground with people without specific ideology? Because obviously most leftists, my brother in particular too, is like so far on that side that we basically can't agree on anything.
Not really. I mean, I think that people have goodwill and they want to find common ground, but I mean, when people become like openly supporters of rabid evil, like harming children, you can't find common ground with them. Father Deacon, would you comment on this from a spiritual perspective? Are you there?
Yeah, I mean, there is. Yeah, I mean, think about in terms of spiritual. It's not just ideologies, but you're participating in demonic energies through various ideas. So, yeah,
I totally agree with that. I feel like a lot of people don't or aren't aware of that, I guess.
No, I
think the practices that they're doing, like the belief in something, giving it the power.
Because that's one thing that we've noticed, whether it's and particularly on the left, like, look, we all have our criticisms, right? And conservatives, they're dumb and they could be normie and stuff like that, but they typically don't take at least the voting, those who vote that direction. They're not demonic. Like the left has like those who vote on the left and Democrats, they literally have demonic ideas that they're actually supporting. What you can see is there's a possession. That's clear as day. Like if you look at the protests where they're screaming, and it's the hallmark like possession too. There's a lack of being able to dialogue and rationality and these various things. So when I look at what's going on, that's a total demonic possession through ideas, and that's what demons do. They're angelos, right? They're messengers. They have ideas and send messages. And of course, the person has no idea that they're under a possession. And Jay, didn't we? I think I posted it, but I think you did too. It was I forget who wrote it, but it was during the Soviet era, or sorry, the Bolshevik Revolution, from one of the fathers or saints that says, when nations become possessed.
Yeah, it's a bishop. It was a bishop in Russia who wrote that about the Bolsheviks. He says the nation becomes demonically energized, possessed.
Yeah, that's a great thing to look at. And again, we can have our criticisms of libertarians, conservatives, and stuff. They're not demonically possessed. There's a demonic ideology in the left, and that's very similar, and that's why the article's so timely, too. And think about who was pushing the Koof narrative in Scan. And that was a classic example of mass possession. Like people... Because one of the things about possession is irrationality, anger, all these kinds of things. Remember, they were calling for people who even question the narrative to be executed. Do you remember this?
Yeah, Chomsky said. Chomsky's
their lives. They were like, these people should be locked up. They should be executed. And I'm like,
yeah, Chomsky said you should be locked up or exiled.
But there were other people too. Yeah, there were other people actually saying.
No, I know it's saying that you should be killed. Sure,
should actually be put down.
Yeah, here's the article by the way. The article is called "How Individuals and Nations Become Demonically Possessed" by Metropolitan Tikhon. It's there on the screen.
Nice.
Great questions. Appreciate
Thank you
that.
for that. Yeah.
Great questions. We're going to move on, though, to Electric. What's up? So, by the way, to get over here into this, it looks like Pope Leo is warning Trump destruction and death. And, of course, I would agree with that point. But the problem is that the Roman Catholics, they all point to this, and they say they'll pull this up and be like, oh, look, see, Pope Francis is not a Zionist. He's calling out the war. That has nothing to do with the statements at Vatican II, right, and Nostra Aetate, that are a direct contradiction with previous Catholic theology on Jews and Judaism. So that is a political statement to not have this war that does not defend the tradcat nonsense of the contradiction between Vatican II's Nostra Aetate and the previous papal teaching. So this is, they always conflate this, because remember when Pine Sap and I were debating the other day, he was like, all you got to do is look at the fact that the Vatican consistently calls out, being against these Middle Eastern wars. Okay, that's not the same thing as the Vatican II statements, right? So so what? Says looks like Saudi Crown Prince supposedly was secretly lobbying for this attack. Well, of course, the Saudis are linked at the hip with the Mossad and the CIA. They were set up by British intelligence. They've always been linked to the West and Western intelligence, especially through oil deals, etc. So, of course, they're going to lobby for siding with Israel and Trump to attack Iran. And by the way, here are your leftists. This is the average sort of leftist activist on the screen that you see here, these creatures. By the way, this Trump tweet did not age well. Be prepared. There's a small chance that these horrendous leaders will take you into World War III. And this was what? Middle Eastern stuff, right? Wasn't it back then? This is 2013. So Trump is probably talking about what, Assad and Syria back then, I'm guessing. Well, that tweet didn't age very well. By the way, shout outs to jailbots.com for that $100 super chat. Appreciate that. Dunkar, $5. Israel state media says that after Iran, Turkey will be next. Well, this is actually in the documents, right? So you have the Oded Yanon and you have the Netanyahu memo. And I know one of them mentions Turkey, but they might have both mentioned it. Go ahead.
I just saw on your YouTube, you put that picture, somebody just came to me, when you put that picture of all the Antifa goblins.
Uh-huh.
It just came to me. What do you see with like the dysphysiognomy? Is that a word?
It is now. What I see is, I see that they're not beautiful BIPOC persons like myself.
Okay, I just realized too, we're on the theme of possession. I mean, don't you see that right onto like the demonic?
Yeah, that's why I pulled that picture up. Look at, yeah.
Described as the most, beautiful created being. What's Augustine said, optima corrupta pessima, the best things corrupted become the worst.
So you're saying these are the most beautiful people, and now they're the worst people.
Well, I mean, and then let's just pull from movies too, right? What happens when people become, vampiric, or they're possessed, or something, like they become mutants, right? Like the demonic actually deforms. And I didn't even think about,
I interject?
No, you can't. Anyways,
I have my hand up for stuff.
Okay, welcome to our first wine mom. First wine mom.
And I'm clergy, so I get to set the rules. But I mean, think about this.
I had good points there.
Okay, you can go after him. Go ahead.
Now I've lost my train of thought on.
Well, grab a Franzia and get it back.
Something about I had previous theories about just kind of Gnostic ideas and kind of being reactionary, and why people on the left kind of take these kinds of forms of self-mutilation, coloring the hair and stuff like that. But I didn't until you put that photo up and just was talking about that I'm like, that would be another sign of demonic possession, as a corrupting and disfiguring of the way one looks.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would often.
You may go now.
It would often attend that ideology and that spiritual perspective. Electric, what's up? What's your favorite flavor of Franzia?
Hey, Jay. By the way, it's an honor to be in your space. Thanks a lot for giving me the mic. I follow you all the time. I'm a huge fan of InfoWars. Thank you for the time. Like, I'm really kind of excited about this space. I get into, I'll say, like, in terms of the name of the space, I get into it, like, my major battle with the people that I interact with on these, I call them twatter spaces.
Mm-hmm.
The example of what feminism is. And I continue to fight that there's a even newer wave of feminism, which is for a woman to be truly happy. She should support the man that is happy. That's the way that we were built to, you know what I mean? Like, we're supposed to be equally happy. And in terms of Zionism, I don't like being labeled as something just because I believe that I probably agree with all of the ideas behind it, but the way that, like, people were slapping a label on me bothered me. And in terms of theology, at the end of the day, I'm gonna know what's gonna happen at the end.
All right. Well, you're cutting out, so I apologize, but you're cutting out. We're having a hard time hearing what you're saying. Let's see. We got one more call from Cole. By the way, the FBI is saying that get ready for terror now that the Ayatollahs have gone off the hook, right? One Ayatollah has been lost. Another Ayatollah is back. Allegedly, Ahmadinejad has been taken out. Well, get ready for sleeper cell, terror, the establishment and media are telling us, which means get ready for perhaps fake flag events. They're also good.
I'm sure they have nothing to do with those cells at all.
Well, speaking of that, this is what I was going to get to next. Let's see who's fighting on the side of the West. This is quite telling because, it just happens to back up everything that I've said and argued for the last 10, 15 years. Listen to this. Guess who's come out on the side of the good guys? Al-Qaeda. Brother, did you not? Osama bin Laden is our best friend again. I thought he did the Big 9 event. Now he is our friend again.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الأمين. مسلمانانو و د افغان د بهادر قوم بچو مونږ اسلامي امارات افغانستان دا اعلان کړی دی.
This is Commander Kari Khalid of Al-Qaeda, and he pledges his support for Israel. Exactly what I've said. Exactly what we've said this whole time. Go ahead.
Well, it's just such a crazy word. Like, I can't even tell what's real anymore. It's the world's so absurd, and you got the AI and stuff. I'm like, is this even real? Like, I mean,
Back in the day,
of course it's real.
pointed out that Al Qaeda and ISIS never attacked Israel.
Yeah, the leaders of Israel even say this.
No news here.
Let's see. Who does ISIS attack? Turkey, Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Egypt. Oh, and not the one in the middle. Okay. Come on. This is what everybody in our sphere has been saying, and we've known this because it's actually pretty profuse in the literature that this is a proxy, a cutout. It's a proxy force going back to 1979, Afghanistan, Brzezinski, Robert Gates, under Carter, to recruit Mujahideen. That becomes Al-Qaeda. This is where we also get the spinoffs of ISIS. So again, people have read the books. We have no surprise to us.
Even things that you pointed out, and we used to talk about back in the day, is that like there were British intelligence agents who were like Arab files.
Oh, absolutely.
So this even stems further back, where there's this like, kind of archaic revival fascination in the 1920s and 30s with Islam.
Yes. British intelligence had about half of their top people. They were Arabophiles. They loved, and again, with people like, St. John Philby, he may have even actually converted. Now, he could have converted for intelligence reasons. He was a spy, or perhaps he wanted 4 wives, or perhaps he really did believe Sunni Islam, because he became, a famous convert. And again, whether it's everybody should watch the movie to get an idea of this, with Nicole Kidman, where she's playing Gertrude Bell. It has Robert Pattinson in it too. I did a whole talk on this book, Black Gold Spies. Great book, written by a French intelligence analyst guy on the history of British and French intelligence in the Middle East. And it became a goal of trying to find where the oil was throughout the Middle East. So the British Empire sent out their spies at the turn of the century, mainly to try to figure out and capture areas where there would be oil. The French were not successful at this. The Russians were not successful, but the Americans and the British were. And Gertrude Bell is one of the most famous. She's a fascinating character. She learned Farsi because she had such a love for the Persians and for Iran. She was also obviously a spy and working directly under the Fabian Socialists and the British War Office. Gertrude Bell, Iraq's uncrowned queen. She is the one that went and decided and negotiated which tribes King Farouk, right? She basically just said, we'll put you in charge. You be the king of this place called Iraq. T.E. Lawrence did it with the Saudis. He went and found Ibn Saud and said, you be the king. You will be this country called Saudi Arabia. So, and why did they do this? This is a key point right here. This was part of the strategy against the Ottomans. So the British linked up with Sunni, Salafi, Wahhabi Islam as a way to battle against the Ottoman Empire, which eventually collapsed. So go ahead.
No, I was going to say is one of the myths of conspiracyville, which in my early days I fell into as well, is not every single person involved in something is like cynical. They actually believe in their cause. And so those people are the ones who are the most susceptible. So like you were saying with her, she actually believed and was a Arabophile. Mm-hmm. And those are the best people to push something through. Mm-hmm. It's not always somebody's like, cynical and LARPing and they're just like an actor.
Right. In fact, some of the best spies are the ones that are true believers. And if you read a lot of the geopolitical texts, the espionage texts, they point this out. Because a true believer will die for the cause. A cynical person is self-interested. They may not necessarily die for it.
Yeah, but in the modern day, it all gets lumped in a weird way where it's like, everybody's acting, everybody's a LARPer, everybody doesn't believe in anything. And that's the kind of modern approach to it is nobody believes in any cause. Actually, there's a lot of people who believe in a lot of causes throughout history.
Sure. Yeah, great point. Yeah, I think a lot of people tend to think, everybody at that level is cynical and, it's just power, politics. Well, for some people, but for some people, they're serious believers. But, if you watch this movie, Queen of the Desert with Nicole Kidman. It's not the best movie, but it's a great window into what we're talking about. And after reading Gals Munier's book, I went and watched the movie, and I thought this was actually a pretty good movie. And everybody, if you're interested in this topic, it's called Black Gold Spies, and that is on my channel right here. And it's just a history of the spies that we're talking about here during this time period and it's not just the British either. It was also the Russians and the French. And it's a 2-part talk that I did right here. So a lot of fun, great book, absolutely necessary read for this history of this time period, setting the stage for how we got to, the British Empire essentially setting up the state of Israel through the Rothschilds and others. Also, I did a talk with Kotel on British intelligence in the Middle East. It's an area that I find very fascinating. I'm not an expert, but I've read a lot of books on it. I do find it very, very fascinating. So I think that gives me a little bit of an insight into it. Guys, if you would hit like and share. Also, we got some more super chats. I'll read these quickly. Banana of the Butson's $100. Thank you so much. Jay, the Iran narrative is surface level. Exactly. Well, good propaganda is always surface level. So absolutely. Pull up a map of Iran and look who they neighbor. Yes, it's always important to do this. Let's take a look at the region here. By the way, we did a 4-hour talk on the history of intelligence, modern intelligence in the Middle East. It is in the members section. I think it got demonetized because they talked about you know what, and it's still there. It's a great 4-hour talk, but it is demonetized. So if we see here, we've got Iran is situated between Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, over here, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Turkey, Iraq, right? So you've got a lot of key resource and geostrategic areas that because Brzezinski, for example, right, he talks about Afghanistan as the gateway to Eurasia. Well, obviously then Iran is crucial because it's a massive border of Afghanistan. So, Iran is situated in a very crucial, important area. This is also why I think Persia was probably able to be an empire in the ancient world, was because of this locale. So when we see all of these neighbors, and then when we look at, for example, the 7 Nations Plan and the BB memo and the Oded Yanan plan, you can see exactly why Israel has the strategy that it does as well. So here's the Greater Israel Project, even coming up right away. The idea was to expand, right, into areas of Egypt, into areas of Syria, into areas of Iraq, sort of Saudi Arabia, Jordan, etc., and bordering then on Iran. So even though it's not directly expanding into Iran, you can see why here's Turkey up here above Syria. Turkey is obviously then a very crucial player, and why Israel feels like they have to probably make a move against Turkey next, because Turkey is the last in that list of nations that Oded Yanan and Bibi have said need some kind of regime change or some kind of something else. I don't know, because again, Turkey, that doesn't make Turkey good, by the way. Turkey has consistently aided a lot of NATO projects. Are they officially at NATO, or they want to be in NATO? I forget exactly what the status of Turkey is, but for a long time they wanted to be part of NATO. But that doesn't mean that you're good or that you're bad. It just means it's just power relations. So anyway, there you can see that's why, for example, Lebanon has to be dealt with and controlled. Significant chapters of Ostrovsky's book deal with Lebanon and how important it is to control Lebanon for Israel. So anyway, Jeff, what's up, man? I mean, I think the British Empire wanted this powder keg. They put this, they set the situation up on purpose. And it's a pretty good strategy, even though they eventually, after the King David hotel bombing, they lost control of Israel. But I mean, you could understand the strategy at the time versus the Ottomans and then versus Russia. What's up? Cole, who's next?
Hey.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Epstein coverage a lot.
Thank you.
And yeah, no problem. And but I listened to Andrew Wilson's stream recently,
Mm-hmm.
and he seemed like he was mentioning to check out Michael Tracy, like he was credible. And I saw a couple of your tweets on, I think, Michael Tracy before. I'm pretty sure you tweeted about him, and I've read some of his stuff too, and he seems like like a skeptic to the point where you couldn't even give him any evidence to.
Well, yeah, I think that,
wrongdoing.
yeah, and that might be an issue where Andrew and I would have disagreement. I'd have to ask Andrew specifically, but I did notice that people asked Andrew, wait a minute, are you saying that there wasn't bad things going on with Epstein? And he said, no, but I don't think Trump was directly involved in being a PDF. So that was Andrew's qualification on that. But no, I don't think Michael Tracy is credible at all. But good question. Micah, what's up?
Thanks, Jay. Thanks for taking the call, and thanks to Father for the expert analysis as well. It's good hearing the clergy speak. I just wanted to ask a couple of questions regarding, and I don't mean to switch the topics too quickly.
Ask about whatever you want.
The idea that we have younger people like, I think, Candace Owens and perhaps these Chase, and I don't want to stick up for these people because I've always had a bit of a concern about Chase and Candace myself.
Chase Haggard? Who's Chase?
Yeah, Geyser.
Oh, Chase Geyser. I thought you were talking about Chase Haggard. I already forgot about Chase Geyser. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was like, what's wrong with Chase Haggard, dude?
Yeah, but we'll go ahead, Father.
I was on the same page as Jay. I thought you were talking about our buddy Chase Haggard for some reason, so forgive me. And I had to laugh.
Sorry.
Yeah. The other Chase.
The other Chase. Gotcha. Go ahead. Chase Geyser. I already forgot we were talking about Chase Geyser earlier. Go ahead.
I suppose I'll just quickly bring it in. It's really that I sometimes think that we have laughs about boomers and all the rest of it, but sometimes I think that we are somewhat boomer-esque in the way that we treat some of these younger crowds. And I think Candace, and I also believe that Chase is perhaps a younger one as well. And we dismiss them a bit because they don't know as much as us, because they haven't been on the planet long enough, and perhaps they're not as well versed as or studied as you, Jay, and others here, Father.
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct. One thing I'll say about that is the problem then is not so much those people, but the problem is that their cult followers are all rabid attack dogs, and they do not operate in a rational way. And so what happens is, like, when you criticize Candace, you get hundreds of these bots and people coming after you. Oh, you work for BB. You got 7,000 BB bucks to say this against Candace. And then it just sort of feeds into the battle. Not so much with Chase Geyser. I think, Chase may actually believe that Masonry is not that bad and it's just a fraternal order. Yeah, he could be, sincere in believing that. That's true. However, I've been pretty hands off and patient with Chase and saying, hey, let's talk about this. Let's have a public debate, this, that. But I also have to keep him to me, a public debate, people see that as a threat or aggression. I don't even think of it as aggressive. I think of it like this is what men would do in a normal, sphere where you exchange ideas and come to better understanding. But a lot of people see debate as aggressive. If you ask them, oh, you're being aggressive by asking to debate. So,
well,
go ahead.
May I interject, Jay? I think a lot of people see debating also as, not to sound too esoteric here, but it's the ego, and someone
That's
has
true.
to win
They do,
if it's a debate.
Sure.
And I don't, and sometimes these aren't for debate. It's just we're trying to discuss. Like, I think if we were to use the Candace, it's not even the Candace situation, it's the Charlie Kirk assassination. So if we were to use that as an example, we're looking at something here that just doesn't flow. None of us believe what's happened here. It doesn't matter what you believe, but it just doesn't flow. Nothing seems correct. We've got Cash just says, yep, no worries.
Yeah, no, I don't believe the establishment story at all.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I'm suggesting here, and I think is important, I'm not on board with the attack dogs, but I don't know if those people can control always those attack dogs. Some of those people could be their own enemy.
Sure.
Splitting what are essentially the good versus, these could be evils supporting, disenfranchising all these sorts of people because it suits them, At the end of the day, I believe that I think Candace is not the most well-read, and I think she has good intentions, and I think Father is probably discussing, we're looking at the souls here, and I would just I would just caution, just don't accept everything said. Of course, none of us do, and none of us should. None of us wiser souls do. But certainly don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. This is just too important a
Okay.
subject, and
Well,
it
look,
goes further because
I appreciate
never
that.
forget.
I appreciate the comments. However, I think what also comes with being in the space for a long time is understanding that we're not naive. So you might think it's a rash judgment. And, I gave Candace benefit of the doubt, 6 months ago when she was talking about BB's background. It was a good analysis. And then it turned into crazy stuff. And we've been here long enough that we can kind of recognize when things smell of uh, not good motives. So, if a person is a so-called journalist and they consistently have bad sources, bad information, wild implications and theories, and then it just moves on, that suggests something more than just innocent youth making mistakes. Thick, what's up? Oh, I'm sorry. I got to read the rest of Banana Up the Butts super chat. He said the Iran narrative is very surface level. If you pull up a map of Iran and look at who they neighbor, Turkey fought against Iran in Syria, but they want a stable neighbor. Pakistan and Afghanistan are at war right now, but they would also want a stable neighbor. This is a second level effect. Interesting. Yeah, thank you for that comment here. There's a lot, obviously, of components to this region and all of what's going on here. A lot of different operations, and a lot of different alliances and changing alliances. So thank you for that, banana of the butt. That's a good point. But yeah, if Israel successfully achieves regime change in Iran and then moves towards Turkey, what would that look like? That's going to be interesting to see. I don't actually know what to say there. Thick, what's up? Thick, you want to unmute?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just, well, first I wanted to say, well, you've been a big inspiration for me, in converting to Orthodoxy. I wouldn't really say I've converted quite yet. I've visited my first Orthodox church today, and I loved a lot of what I saw, what I was reading, what I could hardly understand. And I guess my question for you would be, do you have any like recommendations for things I can read? Any like church fathers, I reckon you would refer to them as, that I can sort of just look up to, sort of try to understand what I'm actually listening to?
Yeah, sure. I would say if you're starting out, I would read something like Athanasius on the Incarnation. It's a great place to start. You could read Athanasius Against the Gentiles or Ad Gentes, another good place to start. I would read the 5 theological orations of St. Gregory of Nazianzus, because that's a good introduction to the Trinity and the deity of Christ and kind of the sacraments. And then I would say get something like Pomazanski's Orthodox Dogmatic Theology book. It's a great catechism, and Father Deacon Dr. Ananias on his channel has for many months now been going through that entire book doing catechesis. So I would check out his channel, Patristic Faith, on YouTube, and you can go through his catechesis if you are not at the point of being in catechesis at the church yet. So let's see. Russia warns that Trump has untied our hands. I assume that means that they would be linking up with Iran. Not sure what China's position on this will be. Missiles fired supposedly at a U.S. warship. I saw this, but I couldn't make out. It's gotten crazy because when you go to X now, you can't tell if the clips that you're watching are clips from like 2 years ago or if they're AI. So it's like I have no idea what any clips are that I'm seeing. What were you gonna say?
It's so frustrating. I was just gonna say that too, and it's just gonna get worse too. I mean,
Right.
And then there's all the disinformation.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that? China struck a warship, or like they were gonna, and it's like you have to wait at least 3 days before you can kind of figure out some of this stuff. It's like, okay, that was fake. That was disinformation. And it's just going to get worse, I think. I think it's part of the plan, too.
ICE arrests 3 illegals from Muslim countries before Austin shooting. So it looks like they're trying to pin this as a Islamic attack. Of course, people should keep in mind Sunni Muslims, as we just saw with Al Qaeda, do not like Iran. They will side with the U.S. and Israel against Iran. So, but again, that also doesn't mean that low IQ prison Muslims or people from Nigeria or whatever, they don't know the distinctions between Sunni and Shia, so they might just be doing whatever they're told by their handlers. Who knows, right? We'd have all kinds of possibilities. I do think it's a ripe time for fake flag events to occur. That would certainly shore up U.S. support, which is very low. I don't think the public is supporting Trump and Israel in these operations. It's very, very low levels of support. That does not mean that I support Ayatollahs. I think they are a corrupt, insane cult. So I don't have to choose a good guy or a bad guy in this situation. But this is coming out of the Ron Paul sphere, which has tended to be correct when it comes to the foreign policy mistakes. And it's noting that Iran is not really running up our debt. Iran is not spying on Americans. Iran is not the IRS taxing us to death. Iran did not push the coup. Iran did not print $7 trillion during the coup and destroy the dollar's purchasing power. Iran is not pushing the DRAG Queen story time. However, Iran does promote it's the world hub of transitioning, so I would take issue with that one. Iran is not destroying the country. They're not so it's like, if you step back for a minute and think about this, like, the main problems in America are America's own corrupt corporate elite and the banking elite. That's the problem, not the enemy 5,000 miles away that we're always pointed to, right? So I would keep that in mind, even though, of course, I'm not pro Ayatollah. Bald man, what's up? You want to unmute?
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, do you think that there's any chance that this could be like a Venezuela situation where it's wrapped up quickly, or do you think this is going to be like Iraq 2.0?
I don't know. I mean, Iran is not equivalent of Venezuela. I mean, they have, way more hypersonic missiles. They have way more ability to do things. They have a much more capable, vast, intelligence network. They're smart people. This is not the same thing as Venezuela. So, and by the way, this could also perhaps trigger other countries to, support Iran. So, it could lead to, ironically, as Trump said, World War III. I mean, what did he tweet forever? If you go with these people, you're going to get World War III. They're going to drag you to World War III. Crazy Hillary, with her, you'll get World War III. Ruiz says for $5. Go ahead. Go ahead. Did you want to say something?
That's all I had. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Remember Trump saying that? I just shared his tweets. Like, that was his whole thing. But look, for those of us that have been, watching politics since we were teenagers, do you think I'm surprised that a politician has gone back on his campaign promises, dude? Every politician goes back on his campaign promises. What are you talking about? Ruiz says, everyone have a good night. Great stream. Thank you. Yorkie says $2. What do you think of flat? I'm not into that stuff. Boomer Slayer, what's up? Uncouth became a member. What's up? I'm here for debates and geopolitics. Well, you're at the right place. Welcome to the new members. Sincere hypocrite. The world is horrified with Epstein and wars. When are you going to do another Resident Evil stream? Well, I did it last night, and I'm going to be honest with you. I want to play the game, and I don't know if I have enough energy to keep live streaming. So, I mean, maybe I'll live stream after this, but I don't know. I'm getting kind of tired. I might want to just chill. Amber says for $10. In the 90s people, does this remind you of rap beefs? They were perpetuated by record labels, if you get what I'm saying. Are you talking about Erica and Candace, or are you talking about me and Candace? Because my rap label is Def Jam, and they definitely put me up to beefing with Candace to try to get some attention, because I'm jealous. That's the only reason I would do it. So I'm jealous. Ivan, what's up? And the only reason you would ever criticize anybody is if you're jealous. Ivan, what's up? I'm mute. Yvonne, Ivan?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, so Reformed Baptist. Well, recent Reformed Baptist, like been about 2 years. So kind of getting into stuff, but I had questions about the appeal to the church for the canon, and so obviously I've heard you say that for Protestants, like, how do we know the canon without the church or the testimony of the church?
Yeah.
How would it be? How is it different? Like appealing to the authority of the canon by saying like the church basically recognizes it, but it's like begging the question, right? By using like the Bible verses that say like that the church will not fall away, or like the keys of what does it say?
I'm not following you. What is the church falling away or not? What does that have to do with recognizing the canon?
No, like because I've heard you say it, like it was a couple of streams ago, and I was hearing it. You said that the gates of hell will not, or the gates of death will not prevail against the church. So, like, that's like why we can appeal to the church as of recognizing the canon of scripture.
First, I'm gonna say too, it's ambiguous what you mean by appeal to the church.
Well, like if you say like the church recognized the correct books of the Bible, and then if I were to just say like, or like Reformed Baptists or Protestants, whatever, like your critique of them would be like, well, how do you know the canon without the church basically recognizing it?
Right.
I'm barely getting into it because I just got into your stuff. So like
Well, they're not recognizing it in a vacuum. Like there are like things that the church is appealing to, in recognizing it too. But yeah, you would expect that, like that's not circular because that's not the reason. But you would expect that the church is the body of Christ would recognize that.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't making. Maybe I didn't. Sure, I didn't articulate it right. So, like, if I were to say how I know the Bible is the Bible, it's God's word because, and I appeal to verses in the Bible, right? Like Jesus says, "My sheep hear my voice, and they know me."
Yeah, but how do you know that those books are supposed to be in the canon? So that's why it's begging the question.
Yeah, but then that's what I'm saying. So how is it not begging the question to say that the church recognizes the right verses in the script, or the
because
right
the question is precisely how do we know and who decides what books make up the Bible? So you can't just say, well, the Bible tells me, because it doesn't tell you that.
So what would you say? Why do you know it's the church that recognizes the Bible?
Because historically, that's where those books come from, and historically, there were councils that decided what books make up that book. And that's not even disputed historically. It's not even
yeah, imagine if we had, like, you're researching something in antiquity in Roman law. What would you look? You would look at Roman history and Roman law that recognized and made precedents about Roman law. Like, that's not circular. That's what Jay's saying. That's exactly what the question and the topic actually is.
What?
Is like historical record fallible?
Well, again, what you think is fallible and not fallible will depend on your paradigm. So the paradigm of orthodoxy is not inconsistent in saying that the church in history determines the canon, because the church is prior to the canon and prior to the written text. For you have a different paradigm. You think that the written text is prior to and determines the church. Well, the problem then is, how do you know, apart from history, what the correct texts are? So you're taking a problem for your paradigm and putting it upon my paradigm. My paradigm doesn't have the same positions and presuppositions as yours. That's why that argument doesn't work on me.
So can you explain how what your position is? Like, how can you say it without it being a problem for your paradigm?
Because I don't believe that the text is prior to the church. The church created the text and determines the text. Paul says the church is the pillar and ground of truth, not the text. You say the text is the pillar and ground of truth, and the text determines the church. So that's a problem. It's a problem for your position, not mine.
Yeah, but I mean, but you know how you just use the Bible verse to explain.
It's not a problem in my position. The Bible verse is admitting the Bible isn't prior. So that's not contradictory in my position. That's a category error. If I cite the Bible saying that the Bible isn't primary, that's not inconsistent with my paradigm. It is with yours.
So your ultimate authority is the history of the church?
No, that's a false dialectic. My ultimate authority is divine revelation. Stop interrupting me when you ask me a question. Let me answer. My ultimate authority is divine revelation in scripture and tradition that is also preserved by the church. That's my position. So it's not inconsistent with that paradigm to cite either tradition or the Bible, because they're both authorities for me. For you, you have a different problem because you think the Bible is prior to the church.
The Bible as in the Word of God, or like the canon itself in the mind of God?
You tell me what you mean by word of God, because you guys equivocate all the time between divine revelation, the person of Christ, and written text. You guys are the ones that equivocate all that.
How?
Well, for example, the Bible is not God. It's a book that records a message about the second person of the Godhead. Jesus is the word of God, not a book. So that's how you guys equivocate all the time.
Where do you think Red Bonson got it wrong? Where would you like put
I have a lot of critiques. You could go watch all the critiques of Bonson. I mean, he gets it wrong with his Trinitarian theology. He believes in absolute divine simplicity, the filioque, created grace, PSA. All of those Calvinist teachings are wrong. So you could go watch some of the podcasts where we critique Calvinism. Appreciate your call, but we're going to move on. You can find a lot of debate. The debate you should watch is the debate with Dale the Protestant. So me and Dr. Branson debate Dale the Protestant. He's pretty much making a lot of the same arguments that you're making. So check that out. H. Brazzi, what's up? Welcome back, dog.
That was good, Jay.
Hey, what's on your mind?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Give me 1 second.
I'll read a couple super chats. L means $5. Aiden Ross admitted that a lot of streamers inflate their chats and viewers, including themselves. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I've never bought subs, bots, or anything. Never done it. Always wanted it to be organic and real. Slowboy, $20. Speaking of spooks, Clavicular was on Jack Neal yesterday at 23 minutes and 50 seconds. Body language is very telling when he's asked about influencers and perhaps influencers being spies. He said he can't create content without any stimulant drugs. He's totally an astroturfed fed, in your opinion. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I've only seen like one clip of Clavicular ever, so I don't even know what he talks about other than his like 2 minutes. I watched 2 minutes of him talking to Michael Knowles, and I was like, this guy's an idiot. But I wouldn't be surprised if, I think, yeah, a lot of influencers are, probably most influencers are astroturf to some degree. I wouldn't be surprised. H. Brazzi, what's up? Tuxedo Mask, $2. Jay, you can't even time travel yet? Yikes. Exactly. Well, if I do time travel, I will find my twin flame. Maybe it will be Tristan. Maybe it will be Charlie Kirk. Maybe it'll be Candace. We'll have to see what the time continuum quantum spectrum tells me. Hey, yo, says for $5. I'm finna make a mega planet. Should I do it? Yes. You should do that instead of creating a Tusami. Roll stakes. Did Ian Carroll ever reply that he accept? Of course not. I haven't checked, but like, of course that guy's not going to debate. No one will debate or defend the Candace positions, which is crazy because it's like, I'm eager to debate something other than orthodoxy and the papacy, or orthodoxy and Protestant. But nobody will do any of these debates. I have to go farm a debate accidentally with Tim Pool. So, Anna's Floating Rock, $5. Trump's Iran war underscores that democracy is a fake veneer. If MAGA is just classical liberalism, then what about Orthodox monarchy? What's the best case or solution for that? Well, again, we're not ever going to get that anytime soon. So that's why politics doesn't even really matter if you're Orthodox too much. It matters, but it doesn't. So there wouldn't be an Orthodox monarchy in 100, 200 years. When the country is majority Orthodox, that's when. So That's why really we can just kind of observe the political sphere from kind of a detached, bird's eye perspective, because it's all liberalism. Everything in politics. That's what I was trying to convey to Tim Pool, which he didn't really understand what I was arguing. It's all liberal. All of the political discourse for the last several hundred years is all liberalism, just different flavors of it. Sapphire, what's on your mind? Guys, if you want to get a hold of Esoteric Hollywood 1, 2, and 3, you can get it right there, signed copies. Now, I have to admit and mention as well, the book orders have been back ordered. I apologize. I know that there's some people complaining. We almost got through all the orders, and now there's another 60 to do. And Jamie's book was back ordered from Bezos for a little while, and the red books were back ordered, but I think they're here. I think they arrived when I was at Timcast. So I will try to get out as many in the next couple days as I can, but I apologize if your books are taking a little bit longer. It is not me. Sometimes the books are slow to get. Like if Jamie orders her books from Bezos, it literally takes like 3 weeks for the books to come. So you can order like $1,000 worth of books, and it's like 3 weeks before it gets here. It's crazy. Sapphire, what's up?
Oh, what's going on, Jay?
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Today?
Go ahead.
Hey, so I had a book question for you real quick. I've been meaning to ask you. I've been on here a couple times. Have you ever read Lost to the West by Lars Brownworth?
No.
I think that one is something that my parents got me when I was a teenager. It covers the history of Byzantium, the whole empire, and how it pretty much saved Christianity from falling. So that might be a good recommendation for you. I'm not sure how
Hold on.
theologically sound it is.
Slow down a little bit. Lost to the West by Lars Brownworth.
Yeah, Lars Brownworth.
Got it. I
Lost
see
to
it.
the West.
Okay.
Yeah, I read that when I was a teenager, and it was a pretty good read for me.
Okay. Appreciate that. No, I always like when you guys give me good book recommendations, and most books that you guys recommend, I end up buying. So I'll add this to my book list here.
Yeah, and that one's solid. I think it's like $15 too, so it's super easy to grab.
Cool. Perfect. Just added it.
But you mentioned the monarchy thing, and that's something, as an Orthodox guy I talk about as well, with like friends and family and stuff, and they kind of balk at that. But I wanted to ask you, like, and more in line with some of this other stuff you talk about, how likely do you think it is that like these dark enlightenment monopoly capitalist types will actually get towards achieving their goal of their monarchy, like their CEO capitalist, hyper capitalist?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, we're going to be talking about that because Jamie just read Dark Enlightenment, and I know Curtis Yarvin visited an Orthodox church the other day, so it's all very interesting. I don't know how far they get there. Elusive, what's up? It's a good question. I'm going to have to get a little deeper into it because I've not read Dark Enlightenment, but go ahead.
Jay Dizzle.
Yo.
How's it going, man?
Hey.
Hey, you got me into Orthodoxy, and I do have to say that ever since then, I care very little about politics like I used to, and it's pretty awesome.
It's funny because Americans treat politics as a religion in America. It really is.
Yeah, for sure. And now, like,
sports and politics are the religion of America.
Then, it's more of like just sit, like you said, sit back and observe, and I don't know. It's a good feeling though. It feels great.
It's kind of a burden, lifted to not have to, deal with this drama every day. It's all retarded anyway. But go ahead.
It is for sure. I was gonna see. Have you read The International Jew by Henry Ford?
I read significant sections of that many years ago, back around 2007. So I'm familiar with most of it.
Yeah, I was just curious. It's pretty good. And then in that he talks about the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. Have you seen those protocols?
I've read that also about back around 2007. So yes, I've read all this stuff. But
yeah,
appreciate that. We're on YouTube. So Jeff, what's up? America's religion is sports hole and politics, and I guess butt stuff. No, what's up, man? Jeff, unmute.
Okay, yeah, Jay, my window keeps dropping on my laptop, but
I'm sorry.
I wanted to talk about the, I know the whole world is run by one bank, so there are no nations. It's all theater or distraction. Now, I researched crypto, and led me to Sabbatean Frankists. Starting with Sabbatia Zay, and he said that he would lead the people to Palestine back in 1666. And later on, I read that Frank was friends or associated with Rothschild. And do you feel that, you're more read? You're very
What does that have
well
to do
read.
with crypto?
I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I'm familiar with all that. What's that to do with crypto?
Is this a cult? Is this a cult, inverted Judaism, to where it's not really the Jews, it's the cult of Sabbatean Frankists?
I mean, I think that was a historical cult with, a satanic kind of perspective, but I don't know that cult necessarily runs the whole world because, rabbinic Judaism itself is pretty satanic. So it doesn't have to be specifically some cult. Rabbinic Judaism, I mean, just look at the Hasidic ways to trick God. Warm and something. I mean, the Talmud was satanic before Jacob Frank existed. Go ahead.
Hey, Piggy.
Uh-huh.
I can't go back to that 9 to 5. You
Terrible voice, dude. You need to work on your singing. Fway, what's up, dude? If you're going to sing my song, it better be beautiful. Fuzz Funkzer, $5. If you can, critique a New Ager positions that all religions tell you to be kind, but you don't need to be a part of any religion to recognize virtues. Well, all the religions don't tell you to be kind. First of all, many religions tell you to sacrifice humans, to go to war. So when you say to, quote, recognize virtue, well, the paradigm is going to tell you what virtue is and what vice is. So a subjectivist relativist position is arbitrary. What's up, Fway?
What's going on, Jay? I was gonna ask if you could. I know I can't see it right now, but just by name dropping it, would you be able to point me in the direction of any of your videos that would help me to be able to discern between Catholicism and Orthodoxy?
I mean, that's probably the most covered topic on my channel. So let's see if we come over here and we go to live. I mean, I would say start with something like I think I did one like top 10 reasons Catholicism is false, or 5 simple proofs against the papacy. But I mean, pretty much like there's probably 200 videos that would all pretty much achieve the same purpose. Let's see, there was one called, I think one of the strongest arguments of late was how the papacy departed from orthodoxy. This is a good one right here. The one where we point out the contradiction in terms of papal temporal power. That's a huge contradiction that errors the Latins. This interview on this book, by the way, FTA, I forgot, I got to mail you that book. Errors of the Latins. This is a good video. Muslims and Christians and Jews worshiping the same God. This is a good contradictory proof video right here. Let's see, where's the temporal power video? This one right here. All one dogmatic contradiction ends Roman Catholicism. This one's a good one. All paths lead to God. Francis saying that's another good one. So, I mean, pretty much any of these, I think, are kill shots. Nelly, $10. I got to turn in. Good night. Thank you, Nelly. Appreciate that. Najam Brown, $2. I've always tuned. First super chat. Much love. Thank you. RSL Democide. Jay, control your panel. Tim Pool is a dork. He came close to throwing you out of the podcast. Bobby C. Is it worth reading about masonry if it's fading? I mean, it's worth understanding and knowing their basic ideas, yes. Ruiz says for $10, Jay, I put a link in your channel's community a long time ago about Templars and Masons in my country. Okay, I'll check that out. Orthozowski gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Wolf, J Wolf, $10. What about Jones acting like Trump is on our side on Twitter fighting the deep state? That seems like nonsense. Alex has been pretty consistently calling out Trump lately and opposing his position. So if he said that Trump was on our side recently, he's probably conflicted. Orthozowski, Temple thinks God can create a rock that he can't lift. Yeah, I forgot he said that. Dunkar, $5. No, we did that. Did the issues with Israel and Turkey and Iran follow Orthodox prophecies? I don't know about. I'm not. You can Kotel and Conrad from World War News know all about that stuff. It's not an area that I know much about. FDA, do you know much about elders' prophecies and Turkey and Iran and all that?
No, I'm not a prophecy bro. That's why I'm like all the prophecy bros like emerged the last day and I'm like, oh dude, look.
Yes, I don't know much. I mean, I've read some of what Elder Ephraim says, and he critiques Zionism, but beyond that, I don't know about the prophecies. Perez, you're my favorite BIPOC. Thank you. Sincere hypocrite. There's a false dialectic between choosing Israel or Islam. It's stupid considering how many times this unholy alliance is formed. Why can people see this? Because people fall for basic dialectics. Yeah, why do I have to choose between Ayatollah or Bibi? Well, what if I don't want either one of those? Dubro, $5. How come there's so many Candace Owens fans? It could be botted. Also, she's gained a lot of Y Mom audience out there. So Worldwide says Candace is the new Operation Trust QAnon. I'll be in sack, $5. Jay, to all the normies, you got to check out Jay's episode called Defense of Traditional Philosophy, episode 3. Oh, interesting. That's an old one. Let's see what that one was about. He says that is his go-to for this. Let's see. Defense of Traditional Philosophy, episode 3 is where we begin John Damascus. Yeah, so we covered John Damascus is on the Orthodox faith, and episode 3 is part 1 of that. If you're interested, you guys can check it out here. That is now, what, 7 or 8 years old? 7, almost 8 years old. That's crazy. Thank you for that reminder there. Again, shout out to the guy that was defending Candace and the banana up the butt. You guys have won the super chat competition tonight. Banana Chan sends $20 and says, thank you for all that you do. I've not seen, have you seen Not So Erudite talks about orthodoxy in the debate with Andrew? No, I haven't seen that yet because I was traveling to Timcast and I didn't get to see that, and I didn't get to see Rachel's debate, but then I think Rachel's debate person canceled. So, but I've not seen her Rogan episode yet either. I think we'll do a commentary on some of that soon when I have another live stream, but we're about to go do a bunch more podcasts, so I'll be on the road again. Worldwide, $2. Oh, we did that. Go ahead, John. You want to say something?
I was just going to say to all the philosophy bros, and if you are a philosophy bro, you need to read St. John Damascus on the Orthodox faith.
Agreed.
And I'm sure Father Deacon can attest to this as well, because if you are a philosophy bro in the realm of, like agnostic or atheist, that text will change your mind about Christianity right there.
JV Free, $1. Unblock me or Candace will appear in your dreams every night. Broccoli, $10. We need to get past the Republican-Democrat dialectics. The only viable position going forward is a president, wine mom, and a vice president, space wife. First order of business is to institute Franzia welfare program. This is how we unite. Well, if Candace won, this is what you would get. Dunkar, $5. My last super chat was zogged. Take a look. Okay, when we get to it, we'll see. Funky Monkey, $5. What are your thoughts on Anatoly Fomenko's idea of? I don't buy. I think it's crazy. Is this Russian? We was. I don't think hardly anybody believes that except for internet conspirator people. But I mean, is that also like the origins of Tartaria stuff too?
No, Rome never existed. Greece never existed.
Yeah, it's just stupid. The church fathers were there during those times. We have the list of absolute succession. So how would that? That's all fake. It's just stupid. Sincere hypocrite, $5. False dialectic between Islam. No, we did that. Blacksmith, $10. First question: have you seen pattern of evidence? I have not. too. Who is Mystery Babylon? I think in 70 AD, it's Israel united with the Roman Empire. What is the tribulation period? It was the period of the destruction of the temple. So Daniel 9 maps on to what happens in the book of Revelation right before 70 AD. What is the tribulation period of the future? We don't know. How does the church interpret the end times prophecies with Israel being attacked? The Israel is the church. It's not Israel. Lean $5. I'm pretty convinced that elites push conspiracy theories to make it seem like utter lunacy. Oh, you don't have to be convinced of that from theory. We have Cass Sunstein's paper on it. Cass Sunstein, who was the head of the czar under Obama, came up with a paper on cognitive infiltration in interjecting fake conspiracy theories into real conspiracy theories. Sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? This makes everybody who questions the official position sound nuts. Of course, that's what its main goal is. This is a classic discrediting by association tactic. Yeah, that's why the CIA came up with the term conspiracy theory.
Well, even prior to that is like I was saying, is so prominent in this time right now is the late great planet Earth kind of melding of all that into the worldview of everybody. Like everybody, whether they're Protestant or not, or just agnostic in some way, they kind of think like the world is moving in that direction of what the late great planet Earth kind of prophesized in that time period.
Yeah, it achieved its effect to promote that whole, evangelical Christian Zionist nonsense. So it achieved its effect, exactly.
There was a movie about it. There's TV shows. There's
and all of the boomer Protestant world just defaults to that belief. Even amongst Catholicism, like there's plenty of Catholics who are ignorant but just default to this Protestant evangelical stuff for end times.
Yeah, and he even incorporates the world in collision crowd too. So
really?
The planets are aligning
to
make this happen.
Yeah.
All of that's incorporated into the New Age, all that.
Yeah, it's a lot of delusion, exactly, and it's also geopolitical motivation to get people to support, the foreign policy stuff that we've been talking about. Guys, if you want to support your vitality, head on over to chalk.com, choq.com. Use promo code J60Life, that's JAY60LIFE, and get 60% off all those great Chalk products at chalk.com, including that stack right there. You don't have to spend $122. You get 60% off of that with the promo code J60Life. You can cancel at any time. Also, there is female vitality as well. It's not just for pee-pee stuff. This is actually gym adjacent, so to get you ready to get fit, get you in the gym, get that Chalk Daily, get that female vitality right there, the Shilajit, the ashwagandha, great for regulating the mood for the ladies and boosting testosterone for the dudes, especially the Tonkatali. Guys, so follow me if you do not follow. Hit like and share. I'd like to have you over here on the regular. We had a good, I think we got up to about 2,500 at one point tonight. Dude Bro says, dang, I didn't know there was so many. No, we did that. Candace Queens. Cody says for $10, Jay, thank you. Got me interested in Orthodoxy, going to a parish here at the beginning of Lent. Prayers for me. Everybody pray for Cody. My wife is opposed to Orthodoxy, and this is making it difficult. Well, give it time. She'll warm up to it. Jay Mel, $5. Jay, do you think Timcast will ever have you back? Well, after the show, he said he enjoyed the exchange, and he said, I will have you back anytime. In fact, we might have more debates for you. So that's at least what he said. So whether that'll happen, I don't know. Tim doesn't seem like a grudge type of guy. I think he's had Andrew back, and they've had some pretty feisty exchanges, so I don't think so. JML, $15. There's a clip of General Wesley Clark. It's called the 5 Nations. Yeah, when I say the 7 Nations plan, I'm also referring to the famous Wesley Clark talk where he mentioned seeing the memo at the Pentagon of taking out 5 countries in 5 years. Yes, it's a famous thing that's been cited for many years. Go ahead.
We have to mention that, we've been around. How long have we been looking into this stuff? Of course, we've seen the Wesley Clark 7.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I remember Alex was playing that back in the 2000s, even, I think, back in the day. And but it's always good to get a reminder and a refresher. So it's another attestation to what we've been talking about. Mr. Funzarker, $5. If you can, no, we did that. Anna's Floating Rock, $5. No, we did that. Excuse me. Matt Scroggins, $5. I'm working out and I listened to your stream. When Candace said little neck dote, I almost dropped a 50-pound kettlebell on my foot from laughing. Yeah, that parody site's pretty funny because they just collect all of the things that she mispronounces and doesn't know how to read. So I'll see if I had any more of those saved. Okay, yeah, it's called Candace Owens Trying to Read.
Candace is my girl, but I mean, when she says macabre, I mean, you can't defend that.
All right, let's see. Here's a new one. I haven't seen this one. How does she say? How does she say rhetoric? Let's see.
Okay, I really don't remember it. And then suddenly, towards the end of Obama, we started hearing all of this rhetoric drummed up.
Rhetoric. All right, let's see how she says hyperbolic.
This hyperbolic idea.
Hyperbolic. In architecture, this one is a classic here. Everybody's making fun of this.
Alex Clark told us that wasn't true. He just liked the architecture, right? He just loved it. He would go in there and just, wow, look at this. Really, it was about the architecture. I want you to understand.
It's all about our architecture, you know what I'm saying? It's a little bit of a neck to key.
I am so very disappointed in Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and Pam Bondi, who all made these grandiose promises.
What did she say with the antidote?
A little
Can't defend it.
a little anecdote. I forget what she said. Anecdote is a little neckdote. Java Crow says for $10, I heard the theory that Iran is still a British asset. Yeah, I'm familiar with that theory. I mean, the British Empire, has been in the background of that for a long time. Is it strategically? Trump has strategically various European intelligence groups. I don't know what that means. Apparently, the Iranian Guard has ties to British and French. What do you think? I mean, it's to some degree, but I don't think that. I don't know what you mean that Trump has been strategically various religious or various European intel groups. I don't know what that means.
You can't defend Green Beret either.
Yeah.
She
said that she grew up as a fan of. She said she grew up as a fan. She didn't know Prince, but she had heard the song Raspberry Beret.
I was rooting for her, and then she said Green Beret.
That's funny. Auditing Ireland, $1. Female intuition breeds conspiratorial thinking, and it links events into hidden emotional narratives. Absolutely. That's exactly the problem with big scale analysis that's run by female intuitive feels. That's exactly the problem. It runs counter to rationality and objectivity. It runs counter to fact-based scrutiny. There should be some hierarchy in place to keep feminine feelings in check. That's funny. Thoughtful, $10. I'm down to debate you. Okay, he came on. That was earlier. York Delta Queen. What? No, we did that. Dim Fool, $5. Should a beginner start learning metaphysics or epistemology? I think if you're a beginner, I would start with Plato, the Apology, some of Plato's dialogues, and some basic Aristotle. I wouldn't try to just dive into epistemology or metaphysics. You need the background because it's a long conversation. Philosophy is a civilization long conversation. Patrick Hayes. No, we did that one last time. Excuse me. I want to remind you guys too, though, I do have a philosophy course which you can purchase. It still exists. FDA is featured in one of those episodes, as is Father Vladimir on aesthetics. If you go to the show description, you will see a link to the Autonomy Agora Marketplace, which is Richard Grove's marketplace right there. To get my philosophy course, it is 11 or 12 lectures, 20-something hours, 26 hours of material. And you can sign up to get that right here. It is a full course, 20-plus lectures, Q&A, reading syllabus here. So everybody who has done it really enjoys it. It's worth the money. because it's a full course, so you can see for yourself right there if you're interested. Guys, thank you so much. A lot of fun tonight. Appreciate the guys for hopping on. Tristan, FDA, John Adams, H. Brazzi. We lost you there, but I'll get you next time. Thank you guys for all the fat super chat supports tonight. All the winners tonight been out of the butt. Ryan Ellis says Ryan Els is Finley, $5. Jay, I love your content. Sorry, this is a meme question, but do you find yourself thanking the Lord that you have foolish enemies? I never thought about it that way, but that's a funny way to put it. If you want to test out the philosophy course, by the way, there is the first lecture, the first half of it at least, 40 minutes of the first lecture is available here on my channel. So you can test out the full course by listening to the first 40 minutes of the philosophy lectures right there.
You should put first 40 minutes is called Going Clear.
This is my introduction to Scientology course. No, I'm joking. Guys, you can also support FDA by subscribing to Patristic Faith. And FDA, anything you want to promote you got coming up?
I may be launching a new class on Patristic Faith by popular demand. And that will be philosophy of political philosophy. And this one will be a live lectures other than pre-recorded lectures. So I'll let everybody know about that, and possibly some other classes like metaphysics or something like that. Also, don't forget Montanica, June 4th to June 7th. Tickets are on sale. We've got a great lineup, and it's going to be better than ever. So they are going to sell out pretty soon. We also have VIP tickets, in which will take you to the local Butte Scientology and give you.
Don't Relay says, I'm scared to debate. Who am I scared to debate? Are you on here? I'll bring you up. We can have a final debate here at the end.
Heck yeah, man.
Who's your handle?
Thanks, Jay, for all the shout outs. Thank you.
Don't Relay. Who are you on Twitter? I'll bring you up. Give me a emoji or something if you're wanting to come up and debate. Don't Relay Loisius says Jay scared to debate. Where you at, dude? I don't see you on here. Maybe he's joking. Just call in next time, dude. Are you Uncle Tom? What's up, Uncle Tom? Is that you? What I'm scared to debate, dog. I'm you, dude. Good Godfather says for $5. What are your thoughts on Epstein running pew-pews for Israel to Iran for Maxwell? Well, that lines up with Victor Ostrovsky. So I had not seen that information yet, but it does seem to make sense. Scruffle the cat, $10, no message. Are you talking about where he describes Maxwell's death, or is that something different? Thank you, Scruffles. Uncle Tom, I don't see you coming up. You can't connect. So I'm sure he'll say I'm running from him. So anyway.